Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR414, the start of WrestleMania weekend and NXT Stand and Deliver, and that has literally just finished. It's the first time ever in WNR podcast history that it's basically a post show, and crazily enough, Dolph Ziggler has just retained the NXT Championship, but we're going to talk about that and so much more. I'm not alone. I have the pleasure today to be joined by, well, he is the biggest heel on the WNR podcast now. His heel turn was a couple of weeks ago. We're going to go into it right now. T, how are you doing?
I'm soaking it in, it feels good on the dark side, I guess. I didn't even realize. I guess it wasn't really a double turn, huh? Because I just turned it myself, right?
It was.
They didn't even know that. You guys didn't even book it. I just did it on my own.
Well, one of the most shocking moments in podcast history. A lot of people that have been fans of Monty since day one are so upset. And I don't think they were expecting it. I think this is the thing. It just kind of came out of nowhere. How are you feeling 2 weeks on? Because the great thing, a perfect heel believes in what they've done.
Yes, and that's what it is. I'm on that route. I'm more of the basking in it. I was justified. Whatever. Feel how you want to feel. The thing is, heels in real life are usually assholes. So, I've tried not to be a heel in real life, but if that's what people feel after that, just because I stated my opinion, that's fine with me. That's cool. It's a good thing. I don't mind it. I like it. I like the heat.
I think it was more shock than anything else. But The thing is like you talked about on that show, and a lot of people have mentioned, is the fact it's different opinion is not an issue, and you can't agree with it all the time. It's just one of those things, and I think a lot of people are surprised.
It's fun, man.
It's like
and I'm glad they had their preconceived notions crushed. I like it. I really do like it.
This is the thing. So we're going to find out what Monty we are getting today. But like I said, there's a couple of rules. I guess we don't talk about Bruno or Charlotte anymore. Those two things that we don't. But tonight, well, we've got night one build-up because, yes, 3.5 hours of action wasn't enough already. We're going to have 4 hours of night one here tonight. We're going to run through the card, get predictions. But up first, NXT. And we're going to look at 3 episodes of NXT. So, yes, we are going to kind of do a mini update just before we get to TakeOver. We're going to start March 9th. And The Miz introducing his friend and new NXT champion Dolph Ziggler with Robert Roode for a Miz TV on NXT. LA Knight arrived to challenge Ziggler instead. And it was a bit weird because, of course, LA Knight coming off a loss to Grayson Waller and then getting a title shot in the main event. But it was good to see The Miz and Knight cross swords because these two guys can definitely go on the mic.
Right. I thought that was the cool part of it. I thought this was kind of like a testing of the waters for a character who's obviously just a great person for the main roster because of his ability on the mic. So putting him out there with Ziggler, putting him out there with The Miz, and having him do that, even if it really doesn't make sense just because he just recently lost a big match, I still thought it was fine because LA Knight was in there with people that he will probably be in the ring with on the main roster sooner than later.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like you talk about with LA Knight, he's kind of got that feel of main roster already. And then we had ladder match qualifier, Santos Escobar versus Cameron Grimes. And this was back and forth, exciting match, of course, between two of NXT's best. The near falls, remember, didn't overly rely on the two-man signature move. It was surprising to see Grimes lose, but Escobar has been well protected in NXT. It's still possible that Grimes could find his way into the ladder match. We like both guys, and this was another competitive match,
Yeah, man. Like I said, awesome. Two guys. They have surprisingly, I don't know, because I didn't necessarily thought, I don't remember them really fighting each other much, but they really have really good chemistry together. But so, and maybe I'm misremembering something, but anyway, I don't mind them revisiting that, like, just as a feud, because that's how good I thought just that one-on-one contest was. It was just solid. And and then again, Melo basically booking all of these qualifying matches, and then on commentary, I thought they added to the match, which they continued to do throughout these qualifications.
Yeah, I think without doubt. And then up next, A-Kid making his debut versus Kushida. And we saw a quick video package for A-Kid before his match. And of course, he would face this. The winner of this would face Grayson Waller in a qualifier. Kushida seemed to have A-Kid's number early on, but the ex-UK star answered him counter, and Kid shocked the Japanese superstar with Tilt World DDT for the win. I mean, give A-Kid an entrance at least. Come on. But
thank you. That's the first thing I wrote down. I was bummed about that they didn't even give him an entrance.
Well, it's great to see these guys wrestles, and I think Kushida should go to NXT UK. If any wrestler, can fit that.
He would fit perfectly. And, I also, like you said, not a full entrance, but it's no way. This was a smart move to give him Kushida first. It was technical expertise showcased by both of them. And, it kind of ended abruptly, but, I guess it was just like a little test, a little thing just to show you what A-Kid can do, even though we know that they both could have did better. But, yeah, I agree with you. Kushida would fit mighty fine in NXT UK.
Without doubt. And, again, I don't know if it's just because I've been watching a lot of NXT recently, but I thought the opening half hour, 40 minutes of this show good. Like we said, we've just had Grimes and Santos. We started with Miss TV and then Kushida and A-Kid. They did bring it down a bit with Tracy Stratton attacking Sarai before her transformation and pinning her with ease in a match. Then it kind of picked up a little bit with Ciampa, giving a heartfelt promo detailing his journey in NXT and saying the chapter was closing. Tony D issued a challenge for Stand and Deliver. Hartwell pinned Perotta, and afterwards Dexter and Duke got involved. And I'm not shitting you, a make-out competition. No, but I'm calling it. There's going to be a vignette with all four in bed. Without a doubt, this is where it's going.
They're just whoring Duke out at this point.
See the response. The old Monty would have been like, "Yeah, man, I completely agree." And he's just Hill Monty. He's just like, I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. Oh my god. So bad.
Well, Raul Mendoza was no match for Dominic Mysterio. Fallon Henley, Jeff Briggs, and Brooks Jensen even the odds with Legado. This allowed Dominic to hit a 619 and a frog splash to win. Cora Jade trapped JC Jane and Gigi Jonah backstage for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. She then tried to steal Mandy Rose's car. The NXT Women's Champion caught her, laying her out. She spray painted Jade's back and stood with Toxic Attraction. I did like the spray paint reference. Hopefully, Scott Hall as well.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That's what I thought. It was like well timed right there. I thought that was a nice reference. And I noticed that she was going for TA there. So, a lot of times when people use the spray paint, it does not work out. You have no. It was sometimes even when they did it, like that really supposed to be in. I remember, as a matter of fact, a perfect famous example. Hogan, I think on Savage, you can tell he wasn't used to the spray paint at the time. Anyway, funny, yeah, but they did, yeah.
This is the thing.
It worked out, and it was nice.
Or Massive N.
Believe it or not, I just went on a soliloquy about spray paint.
Yeah, what about to say? Massive N, massive W, and then towards the end of the body they go, oh shit, and it's a tiny little O. Like that's usually what happens.
Yeah, okay, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you. You do. I'm glad you got me. I felt old for a second.
No, I've got you. Don't worry about that. Well, the Creed brothers took the ring to demand to know who attacked them. MSK came out to clear they did not attack them. I bet they. It's a triple threat match for Stand and Deliver. Malcolm Bivens questioned the Grizzly Young Vets as well as Justin Offey and Malik Blade. Zach Gibbs and James Drake were willing to fight Judas and Brutus Creed next week if they've got my future title match. And then the NXT Championship, Dolph Ziggler versus LA Knight. Breaker arrives as Knight seemed to be finding stride against Ziggler. Rude distracted Knight, and after Ziggler closed to the apron, this allowed him to get the foot on the rope for a near fall. Ziggler sent Knight into two turnbuckles for hitting a super kick to win and retain. After the finish, Breaker stormed out and challenged Ziggler for a match at Stand and Deliver. The Shelf accepted after the challenger laid out the glorious one with a right hand. I mean, this was quite an enjoyable main event, even if the result was a foregone conclusion,
Yeah, I agree. It ended up being really, really good. I kind of viewed this as like a test too, again, for Knight to see how well he would do, against people. I think that's another reason that you can have a guy like Ziggler down there. He can be a nice measuring stick because not only you're going to get good matches and good performances, and we know how good Ziggler is at making other people look good. But you just like again, he's that veteran presence. So I just think it's kind of he's perfect in this role of kind of helping people along, and you kind of get to see what Knight could do. And I think in this case, if you view it as a test, he definitely passed it to me because this was definitely a fun main event, and I thought he performed really well. And it was a clean retain, pretty much in my opinion, for Ziggler. Besides like one like distraction from Rude, like you said, no one really thought it would go the other way, but this was still really good stuff.
Yeah, without doubt. And then we move on to March 20th. NXT, we started off with a ladder match qualifier. Roderick Strong versus Solo Sikoa. And Solo beat him clean. I mean, at least Roderick Strong did beat Wolfgang in NXT UK. But my God, can they make it any more obvious? It's just... I'm not... we've seen NXT for a very long time. And I'm not saying he's missed a personality, but if there was a chance for him to be a success, it would be with Diamond Mine, and I think he's peaked with a Cruiserweight title, would be fair to say,
That is fair. I think a guy like Roderick Strong, he's so solid and so just good in the ring, they kind of get comfortable with him. And, I don't think they ever really think of him as the guy for these moments, even though I think we all know that he could deliver because he's just, like I said, just really, really good in the ring. But I think he's kind of like, and I'm not to say he is a Cesaro, but they kind of like the same way I feel like they got comfortable with a Cesaro on the main roster and kind of knowing he could do anything. So we don't really necessarily have to push him a lot. We can just go out there. He's going to give anyone a good match, win or lose. That's kind of in the role I think they view Roderick Strong. So, we know he's good, but it's hard to ever really get invested in him to win those big matches because he's never really either in them or never really won going over. But this was a fun opener, honestly. And, I thought Solo winning was the right move because even though I think, like you said, he's peaked out and down in mind, Roger Strong is obviously doing something else, going for the NXT UK title at the moment. So I just kind of figured that, yeah, it would be that way, even if it wasn't quite solidified at that point yet. But yeah, this was fun. This was fun, though. I didn't have a problem with it.
No, I'll say that. One of my problems is that, someone like Roderick Strong versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT title maybe could get on Stand and Deliver and actually give Ilya another chance to,
that's true.
Be with a a big crowd and to have the limelight shine to them. But obviously, they're going, fuck NXT UK. So, but anyway, we've got Tony D beating Dexter Lumis in a cluster, and then Tommaso Ciampa interrupted Tony D's promo afterwards, planting him with a fairy. He promised to write his own fairy tale ending at Stand and Deliver. Elektra Lopez defeated Fallon Henley. We then get the glorious theme played as Bobby Roode with Robe faced off with
the memories.
Breaker. I mean, it is just good times, when people say, oh, Robert Roode, like he beat Nakamura when Nakamura was at his kind of peak in NXT as well, and would he beat Breaker here? Well, he did hit a spine buster, teased the glorious DDT, but Breaker fought out and hit a spear. Roode got out of a military press position, hit a glorious DDT for a near fall, but Braun caught Roode mid-air for the win. Ziggler caught Breaker from behind with a super kick. I really enjoyed this. Braun has it, as we've talked about. My only problem was that Roode had a massive bogey in his nose towards the end. And I just, you know what I'm like? I just can't. Roode
It's one of those things that you just can't take your eyes off, but you want to.
No, but he seems motivated in NXT, and it's a Bobby Roode
you've
not seen in a little while.
Yeah, I agree. This is very good. It was fun. Like you said, seeing Roode back in that element. And I think that's the thing. I think he always would, could tap into this. It's just on the main roster for a long time now. He's just been out of that element, just kind of either in the shuffle, in a tag team, just doing, random things backstage, not really even involved off and on. Like I said, it can be so inconsistent sometimes on the main roster that it can take you out of that. But yeah, he definitely was back in his element here, and I think people forget how good he is. And Ziggler also, and I think NXT so far is a great way of just letting people reminding people of just how good they are. And and when he hit the glory DDT, I actually almost thought he beat Breaker at the time because maybe it was the memories coming back and all that, but it was fun, and Breaker is the man, and Rude made him looking great there. So I thought that was the goal was accomplished.
Yeah, without a doubt. We'll be getting ladder match qualifier Grayson Waller versus A-Kid. A-Kid impressively managed to counter multiple big moves from Grayson. He still fell to a springboard leg sweep, in return rolling cutter for free. And afterwards, Hayes gave Kid Cameron Grimes Strong a second chance in the triple threat qualifier for a ladder match. Tried his best here, but we kind of knew which way it was going to go. A bit like the Creed brothers beating Grizzled Young Vets. Like I said, one of the best teams around, but just can't catch a break. But we see a mysterious duo showing up on a Titantron, destroying Dynamite's personal training room as well. Volta ran through Duke Hudson, finishing off with a powerbomb, but holy shit chant from the chop. And again, I try not to do this, but you and I have been fans of Volta for a long time. We know how dangerous his chops are. But it's when someone sees it or experiences it for the first time and realises kind of what a monster he is,
Man, that was the most notable moment of that whole time, like that little match. It was. I still remember it vividly, and everyone just it's funny to me when he delivers it. It's just like it's nothing like how I feel like the match stopped for a second. It's like it's always an explosion, like everybody, oh my god! But like you said, holy shit here in this case. But like you literally have to listen and you have to look back, just let it happen, and it's such an experience. Like oh my god, like that has to hurt. You can't fake that. I don't care how predetermined or however you want to look at wrestling. You can't not feel that impact. So. Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime type of experience here, and like you said, in a random, basically a squash match here. Even though I thought Duke tried his best at times, but we all knew it was going to happen, and yeah, that chop was sick. It was sick. It deserved the chance.
The thing is, as well, is that Duke obviously got a few strikes. You saw this kind of red mark on Volta's body as well, and it'd be interesting. I would love to see someone like Volta. I know it's never going to happen, but get someone like JBL. JBL kind of take liberties, and Volta probably be like, "Look, just hit me as hard as you can. Yeah, clothesline me from hell, but I've got to chop you." And I just want to see what someone like Bradshaw would. Do you know what I mean? It would just be incredible because I don't think people realise the power that Volta actually has got.
Yeah.
And then we see him disparaging LA Knight, and the $1 Million Megastar came out to challenge him. Imperial Attack Night, MSK made the save, and then in the main event, the Women's Dusty Classic final, Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray versus Dakota Kai and Wendy Chu. And of course, Toxic Attraction had a new Toxic Lounge close to the ring for the final of Dusty Tag Team Classics. Match went back and forth, and Kaylee Ray finally put it away with a Kaylee bomb on Chu, followed by Io Shirai's over the moonsault to win. Mandy Rose taunted the winners as confetti fell. But they surprised Toxic Attraction lead by announcing they were cashing in their title opportunity by making the NXT Women's Championship match a fatal four-way. Cora Jade joined the two and sent Toxic Attraction running. But what the dick was the Dusty Tag Classic about? The Tag Classic about this year. with the men's and the women's. What are they doing?
Yeah, they were horrible. At least, just screw the outcome, right? Even though I thought this match was like probably the best thing that they've done in the entire tournament. Like it was pretty good, but yeah, just immediately after they're telling you that we wasted your time, basically. And yeah, and then like you said, the Dusty Cup winners, both of them, and we'll get to that later. The outcome even reaffirms it. The outcomes of their arcs so far going forward. We'll talk about it later in more detail, but yeah, this is crazy when you think about it. But I didn't mind the outcome because I was like, okay, well, I don't mind a fatal 4-way, but it's true. It's 100% true. Like, what did we watch all those tag matches for? Just so they could just say, nope, screw the tag belts. Who needs them?
It's just what can you say? They don't help themselves, you know. It's like on kickoff when they put Duke, Persia, Indy, and Dexter cowboy outfits. You're thinking you're not helping the cause. Anybody turning the channel on who doesn't know will just turn it straight off again. And a tag tournament where the winners get a single title opportunity is just you know. I know WWE have had triple threat match for a tag team titles before and all this other jazz, but come on.
And it came up so rushed to me. It's like, oh God, I think we forgot that, you know, Cora's the only contender we've given her, and I don't think we want to give her that just one-on-one with Mandy. So let's put the two veterans here. You could just feel how last minute it felt almost. Or off the top of the head.
They didn't trust Cora Jade to kind of do the heavy lifting in this title match. So they
exactly.
Because I would have much rather see EO and Kaylee Ray go for the tag titles and potentially win it than what happened.
Because it would have at least made sense.
Yeah. Because they won the Dusty Classic.
Yes. Right? See how much sense that makes? But look at us. Here we go again. Trying to make them make sense.
Oh,
we have to stop.
I know.
Too much logic.
Final NXT, March 29th, LA Knight and MSK versus Imperium. The fight started on the entry play. Eichner knocked down Wesley, then clotheslined for Barthel to win. The Creed brothers walked out after the stare down both their opponents to Stand and Deliver. We then get Ivy Nile versus Tiffany Stratton. Saraya appeared on the apron to distract Stratton, who got herself locked in a single arm drag, sleeping to force a tap out. I don't think I'd be more disinterested in a women's feud ever than Tiffany Stratton and Saraya.
Thank you. And it's sad. The sad thing about it is I actually thought that they probably had some potential if done well with this new version of Saraya, but they've immediately made it just seems like, nope, nothing here. And then with Stratton, oh my goodness, don't get me started on that. I'm ready to skip literally as soon as it's on the screen at this point. It's getting bad so right now, James. That's why I think so far we've been avoiding to really talk about her in detail, and we should continue.
We'll move
as long as we have to until they force a title match on us or something.
Yeah, until then. But
Lord,
Tommaso Ciampa said goodbye to WNXT with a heartfelt promo before leaving a steel chair with the dates of his NXT debut and his Stand and Deliver, his last match, spray painted on it. Now, if it was Impact, that chair would be on eBay before you could say
Fair enough.
You know, what a little. But then Tony D told the Blackheart he made a big mistake by attacking the future Don of NXT from behind. Another group of people I don't like, Brooks and Jensen, beat Legado. I don't know why I dislike him so much. It's just I just do. But Wild, maybe it's just because Legado haven't won a match in 2.5 years on NXT. But
I don't understand it. They are money, and I don't understand why they still have to lose.
No,
they
Wild
should be at the top, man. They should be dominating.
Wild did do a crazy Matrix-style elbow from ring post down, which was impressive. And then, this is just crazy. Dakota Kai could not find Wendy Chu, who had been attacked.
Oh my God, I hated this so much.
Katie Ray and EO promised to end Toxic Attraction, began arguing who win the NXT Women's Championship. Cora Jade explained she wanted to be the champion. Mandy Rose told everyone they need to remember who she was, refused to fear her three opponents. Jane and Dolan revealed they had attacked Cho before mocking all the competition. Kai attacked Toxic alone, but then was surprised by Raquel Gonzalez. She leapt into Gonzalez's arm, and it did bring a tear to my eye. But even I put here one last time, because the story of them together is such a kind of, I don't. It's like Ciampa and Gargano just forgetting everything that happened beforehand. And again, I don't know. I don't know if it's a case of
they had a street fight, man. They tried to kill each other.
Yeah, they didn't. I tell you what,
this wasn't like one of those feuds. You know what I'm saying? Like just a argument.
It's a friend getting back with an ex-wife or a partner that the breakup was just so bad and destroyed him. You're thinking,
Right.
why are you going back there? Like, don't you know?
Exactly. Like this is why she's crazy.
Honestly.
You're literally talking to yourself ever since the feud with her, and you just magically everything is fine magically because she came to help you. Okay.
Well, then we
Yeah.
had
No.
3 squash matches. We had Bodie Haywood squashed by Von Wagner, Joe Gacy beating
Mm-hmm.
Draco Anthony, and Nikita Lyons beating Sloane Jacobs. Lash legend Mock Lyons on a title John challenger to a match next week. Yay. And then the main event, NXT ladder qualifier, Cameron Grimes versus Roderick Strong versus A-Kid with Mello joining the commentary before Solo came to get a closer look. Waller then arrived with Sanga in the crowd, and the action got the crowd on their feet. Strong planted A-Kid with a high knee and a backbreaker, but Grimes caught him suddenly with the cave-in. The A-Champion grabbed a mic to mock Grimes, but was interrupted by Santos. And then, of course, a brawl broke out to end the night. And the only thing we didn't get is William Regal coming out and saying, "It's War Games." That's
Yep.
But it will be...
we'll never get that one again.
No, it will come out on AEW and say it's
What do they call it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what they called it.
What
Blood
do
and
they
guts.
call it?
It's blood and guts.
Yeah, it's blood and
That's-
guts. Yeah, there we go.
But again, talking about the main event, brilliant main event. 3 great
Yes.
talents. We just talked about Strong. Of course, we know about Grimes and A-Kid chucked in there as well.
Right, and by far, by the way, the best match. Only thing really, in my opinion, that focused on really, besides some of the promos, was this match. So, like I said, this is like 3 of the best. We all respect, like you mentioned earlier, and once again, I thought this match was closer to what people should expect from A-Kid if you're not familiar with him. So I thought, this was really good stuff to really put him on, in the spotlight again in the main event. And Melo was awesome on commentary once again. He's like, he want A-Kid to win, but he don't want to get in trouble for beating a minor. I was like, oh, come on, man. I love it. That was perfect. Anyway, Grimes winning was the right move to me because, like, you cannot tell me a story about a passed away relative. It did not qualify for the title match. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. So that's one thing that he had in his favor that no one else had.
Yeah, I mean, if it was 20 years ago, we'd have lost in the hometown in front of his mum. But recent times, WWE.
Right, recently, yeah. They don't do that usually and not give you,
And if
the
it was
spotlight. So.
And if it was MJF and AEW, he would have cut a promo on his dead dad. So that's the, what I mean? They were kind of. But hey, we're not looking at
piece of trash.
We're not looking at AEW.
Yeah.
We're looking at NXT. And we're going to move on now because it is Stand and Deliver.
Let's
April
go.
2nd. We're going to kick off with kickoff. We've got Beth Phoenix, Sam. Can't
Good
remember
to see
his
her, by the way.
surname. Yeah, it was great seeing Beth. And I want to say Sarah or someone, but again, I don't want to get the name wrong. But Beth Phoenix was definitely there, and Caleb Braxton and Pete were outside the stadium because they're not allowed in yet. Bivens joins the team inside to be instructed by Inofi, sending his partner into an Imperium's locker room. But wait, because he had a bunny and thought it would be Toxic Attraction, you see. So he went in there. Yeah, W Humor's a shit. Speaking of which, Dexter, Indy, Duke, and Persia going shopping was awful.
Awful. Don't even. Yeah, we don't have to dwell.
Well, I'm not going to move on. I'm going to move on straight away to the tag team titles and Toxic Attraction versus Kai and Gonzalez. And one of the biggest stories told was how Kai has been rejuvenated in the 2 weeks, implying her fragile state of mind.
God.
As of late, was guilt over ruining her friendship, you see. This appeared to be the trick. Well, this is what I wrote. As one of the tag champions weren't willing to go down without a fight, the time of champion has come to an end. With a little help from Wendy Chu's interference, Gonzalez scored the pin on Jane. This was the second time as tag team champions. And it was, unless they lose the belts by the end of the show, it'd already be a longer title reign. So we have got positives.
That's the positive. That's the only thing that would make me think of them originally when we talking about predictions. Is because I was like, well, they didn't really have much of a run originally, so
No,
You
no
know.
doubt. And like I said, it is weird seeing Kai and Gonzalez back together. It was nice to NXT chance. Jane actually impressed me in this one. What were your thoughts with the match?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought this was fine. You know, it was a little clunky at times, you know, but it was still all solid. You know, I had no problem with anything that happened. I didn't like how when Raquel was about to make her hot tag, you know, they stopped her because of the rope, not grabbing the tag rope, and I was like, we enforcing this again now? I thought WWE was notorious for not enforcing this, but either way it go, I thought it kind of messed up the momentum of her hot tag, but it was a small detail. They recovered well, and they went back to doing what they needed to do. And as soon as Wendy showed up, like you mentioned, I just knew I was screwed on my pick of TA retaining here. And you know, this is what made me mad at myself during the kickoff match. It was because Jane and Dolan committed the sin of highlighting that they have beaten everyone already right before this match. You never do that. If you are a champion in wrestling, never brag on how you've beaten everyone. I promise you, most of the time, the next person you fight, you will lose to. And it was true in this case. I should have went with my gut, but again, and I told you how it just don't make sense to me. How everything is just fine all of a sudden magically. I think Isla Dawn may be on NXT 2.0 now and doing some witchcraft here. I don't know how this works so fast that their relationship. They developed their relationship back together way quicker than she got Cora Jade on her side. Like it took a couple vignettes, couple weeks, right? If I remember right, for Cora Jade to convince her. So they got it together. They got it together really, really fast. But you know, to be fair, like we mentioned earlier, they didn't have an original run. Really, it was gone. You know, really, really, they were done. They were, like you said, done the very next week, I think, after the defense the first time. So I can live with it. But I gave it 3.75.
Yeah, I gave it 3 3/4 as well. I mean, it was a shock. Don't get me wrong. To see Kai Gonzalez win, especially on a kickoff, especially when there was about a quarter of
that too.
people in the crowd.
I was like, on the kickoff, no way. Yeah,
there's a lot of things that make sense, and it was kind of maybe a little bit more of a shock factor to kind of make people think, oh, there is something going to happen at this show, as opposed to kind of standard stuff, if you know what I mean. But yeah, 3 3/4.
It did set that tone, though, that anything could happen.
Yes,
so I give them that.
That's without a doubt. And again, it wasn't a bad match. 62% of people did go for toxic attraction in that one.
Okay, so we're all wrong. Good.
So that wasn't, you know, at least we can take out of that. Predictions. Well, the prediction league, and this is big because there are 7 points on the line over the next 2 days. 3 WWE pay-per-view points. And, of course, bonus points for perfect scores if we get them. Then, if someone wins both nights of WrestleMania, that person will get a bonus point as well. But scores at the moment, we've got prediction leagues. We've got 3 prediction leagues. Bonus league at this moment in time, Monty, Gina, and Jaxie are on. I am in the lead with 6. W pay-per-view league, I haven't scored a point yet. Gina and Jaxie on 2. Monty is 3 for 3. And if that wasn't exciting enough, well, Select Match Podcast are joining us for predictions this weekend. So we have got another challenger a part of it as well. So we start off, and Jackson and Gina went Kai and Gonzalez. Monty, you with Select Match Pod went Toxic. So what a start for Jaxie and Gina, who of course don't watch NXT. And you know, they were saying to me it was difficult to do predictions. I said, yeah, but me and Monty are experts, and we want to find out who's, you know, what's better, being expert.
I don't feel like one.
Well, at the moment, Jaxie and Gina are 1-0 up. And I like we had entrances for the ladder match on the kickoff as well, rather than just, you know, anything else. If we start the main show with the North American title ladder match, Carmella Hayes versus Santos Escobar versus Grayson Waller versus Cameron Grimes versus Solo Sikoa. And all 5 superstars had moments when it looked like they could win it. The 2 faces, Grimes and Solo, had the work cut out from as a 3 heels, had some extra help on the outside. Legado, Trick, and Sanga even had an in-gate segment mid-match where they were the bulk of the action when everyone else was out. One rush of adrenaline, Grimes managed to and capture the title to honour his late father. Like I said, lots of people outside doing stuff. Solo squashing 4 in the corner. Things turned up when Waller hit the cutter. Santos tried to kill Solo with the power bomb through a ladder. I mean,
my goodness, that spot.
Samoans are tough. He got back into that match afterwards as well.
Yes. Yes, he did.
We had Lopez flying into this one. Solo and Legado broke kayfabe because Wild just jumped on Solo's back and he just fell with them. But Trick Williams did his best Shah Samuels impression, trying to get the championship as well. And then Waller decided to break his arm on the ladder with a dive a la Jeff Hardy. I mean, that ladder, if he hasn't broken his arm, it will be a miracle.
He definitely. Right? I agree. If he came out away from that unscathed, he's a bad dude. Because that was tough, man. That was tough.
What were your thoughts on this match? I know ladder matches are kind of difficult because it's sometimes waiting for spots, but I don't think it was bad.
Right. I didn't. You gonna think I'm crazy. I love this match. This had an awesome pace. Like I will say it was definitely spot festy. And if you're not into it, maybe you don't like it. But I didn't think it went over over like logic either. It was a little bit. It was still smart. It was hectic in the best way possible, is the way I would explain it, because there was a lot of stuff going on, but all of it, in my opinion, made sense within the theme of the match. And I thought everyone in this match, like you said, including the people who wasn't even directly in the match or like competitors or fighting for the title, they all had moments to shine. And I don't know. I don't think I've ever really seen a ladder match like that where everyone. It kind of gave, and I'm not trying to compare it to that great ladder match of TLC and WrestleMania back in the days, but it was like you had Rhino running in and Spike Dudley, Lita running in those Edge and Christian Dudleys and Hardy ladder matches back in the day. So it kind of gave me them vibes. I'm not trying to say it was at the same way or anything, but just because it had a lot of people involved, this was just really, really fun. And then Waller, the kind of storyline of Waller being so ready, he just needs to go viral so much that he not only cost himself the match by jumping through that ladder, but he cost himself the match right before that because he's right by the belt and he was contemplating, should I jump on him or should I? I was like that because I'm like, he is such an idiot that he just won't win the match. And he had it won, but and I was happy about that because I didn't pick Waller. But the finish, was awesome to me. It was just, it was like real executed. The right guy won, like I said, and I don't have a problem with saying this is a perfect like multi-man ladder match to me. Now, like I said, was it a little spotty at times? Did a lot of stuff happen? But ladder matches to me are all about moments. So if you want to talk about moments, I felt like I almost got lost. It was so many moments to go to just pick through. And like you listed off a couple of them, but you also probably didn't talk about something else that happened because it literally from the opening bell, they were just going at a crazy pace. So I loved it. I'm really high on this. I gave it 5 stars. Like I liked it that much. Like this is for me, this type of ladder match.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, like you said, with some of the ladder matches and being a monthly thing, basically, is to try and come up with new ways. And like
right,
said,
exactly.
It's a perfect point you mentioned. It's not comparing to 17, but the amount of people on the outside becoming involved and then adding a different layer to the match, was a different bit of fun. And of course, like I said, the right guy winning. But even if with the 5 guys, whoever would have won that match,
yes,
you could make an argument.
I would have been happy. Yeah. Even Waller.
Well, I mean, Solo probably the one that probably didn't make the most sense. But even that, like a open challenge type thing every week on NXT, I think would work that way. Like I said, Waller has got this kind of illness about Santos. Escobar's probably the guy we don't mention a lot. The selling on top of the ladder was fantastic.
Oh, God. And he made great facial expressions. Like something like what he did after Solo and just how he sold it. Like, did I really just do that? Like that's the look he gave it. He sold it really well. Like he was great. Him and Melo, in my opinion, did a really good job of like carrying and setting up the set pieces perfectly. Like they were solid. They were a part of everything. It felt like if you really think about it. Like Grimes, Melo, and Santos, everyone shined in my opinion. but they really, led everyone along, in my opinion, perfectly. And I just thought, I don't know, whoever helped put this together, the agents all involved, like, they really had fun, and I loved it. I thought this was the ultimate definition of a fun ladder match.
And again, it pays perfectly for Carmelo Hayes. So the fact is that he wanted this match, and the only reason he didn't get pinned, he didn't submit, he just got overconfident. Nope. So we can still say he's undefeated, but just know it's time to keep it in check. That's what the character's about.
I love that. Like, that's a great way. Exactly. He didn't lose anything. Because this was all a test for him also. You know what I mean? He may have failed that test, but think about the test that he set up. He was so dominant that he put his title on the line in a chance where he probably pretty much had no chance of coming out the victor. So yeah, everyone looks awesome coming out. Nobody looked bad. Like, no. Waller looked tough as hell again, because like this is not the first time he's dived off something for us, even if it is just to get our attention. After a while, you have to give someone props for doing that type of stuff, whether you like what he's doing character-wise or not. But yeah, this was great. I thought everyone came out here looking good, and that's why I had to give it perfect for me.
No, I'm going to give it 4.5. Like I said, really, really good stuff. Mm-hmm. A great way to start the show. Makes you forget about all the changes in NXT starting off.
Yeah.
And poll-wise as well, really, really close. Solo Sikoa got 11%. Waller and Santos with 22%, Carmelo Hayes 33%, but just pipping him, Cameron Grimes 34%. And prediction wise as well, Monty, you and I did go Cameron Grimes, and I guess it is because we knew what Grimes had promised.
What was going on?
So we did go him. Jaxie went Santos, Gina went Hayes, and Select Match Pod went Solo. So the scores are the entire WNR team at this moment in time on 1 point, and Select Match Pod are on 0. We then see.
Oh man.
We then see Tony D'Arai with help from AJ Galante, ready for his match against Ciampa. Ciampa had an epic entrance video.
Oh my goodness.
And when you think about it, he is the kind of Captain America of NXT through everything. Everything. You've been talking about Johnny Gargano or Adam Cole or Finn Balor, but Ciampa's been there almost from the very start.
Yes, 100%. I agree 100%. You can't, like, he is, like, I don't know who you associate, like if you wanted to tell me that you only had to pick one person to associate with NXT, just in general, Ciampa would be right up there, if not the only name that you could think of. Like, I know we've mentioned how important Finn Balor was, or how important, Adam Cole's run, and a couple other people who were great champions and great members of NXT. But what Ciampa accomplished there and what he means to that brand, like, I can't lie. Watching that video package and figuring out, basically, it hit me there. Like, it was all unsure before, but it was all confirmed that, okay, this is the end of an era. This is special. No matter where he's going next or whatever happens next, this it's the end of an era. So this, I can't lie, it definitely got me emotional.
It is weird because I remember, seeing him kind of, who's this guy on the CWC? Oh, he's facing Gargano, and that kind of, the whole story's been covered in WNR podcast history. You can go back and listen to shows in 2016 when we talk about these two guys, and of course what happened with DIY, and it is weird. It's a bit like the comparison in Hall of Fame, because he's there now, but you just don't believe it, and you won't believe it until, a couple of weeks, couple of months. It might never set in, but yeah, Ciampa and NXT, and to come out and another thing shows you the spitting of water is not as easy as it looks, because Ciampa tried to do Triple H as well, and tries to do. It did Shawn Michaels this taunting ring. Lovely little bit of tribute, but still, And Ciampa being a veteran, he was fighting if he was the one who has something to prove. D. There was an air of desperation at times as Ciampa rushed to regain control any time he was on the ropes, and he exposed the concrete on the outside after a couple of times. But even that, that's the experience of Ciampa, where he talks to the crowd and goes, "Oh, let's try this again," and they're laughing along with him rather than going like, "Oh, you fucked up," or whatever it is. And that's just kind of the love and respect and the experience as well. you know, we knew Tony D was going to bend the rules, and he hit. It wasn't enough to put Blackheart down, but surprisingly, Tony D wasn't ready to lose either. After the fairy tale
No,
ending.
right. Oh my god.
I mean, honest to goodness, there was 2 false finishes in this. There was a crowbar to the face and a low blow, which I think was over. And then that fairy tale ended. I'm going, oh, you piece of shit. But no, I didn't think Tony D in a million years would kick out. We then see the Gargano escape. How couldn't we? Which is a chance of Johnny wrestling. Right. But I always thought it was going to be the guy with Tony D at ringside to be the difference, but it wasn't. Me too. It was the concrete on the floor with the DDT taking out, taking him in the ring with the kick and the 1, 2, 3. And this was Tony's biggest one-on-one match. And do you know what? It's probably the best Tony D has looked, but it's about Ciampa being the consummate professional.
Yes, doing the right thing.
Before we talk about what happened after the match, what do you think of this match? This is why we love Ciampa, you know?
Yes, I agree. This is really good. He got, like you said, by far, in my opinion, the best performance out of Tony D. And I thought Tony D had, I thought even when he was fighting before Ciampa that he was, had a foundation to have something there in the ring. It's all about the, what they have him doing as a character. I don't too much care for it, but him in the ring, I always see, I seen a little bit in him at times, the little bit he's been allowed to show. And I thought, again, in there with a guy like Ciampa, who, like you said, the consummate professional, knows what this business is all about, made him look like $1 million. And, the way most of this match went, it felt like a great fairy tale ending for Ciampa. He was hitting all the greatest hits, just everything from his NXT career, the poses, like you said, at the beginning of the match, the way that entrance went and just how everything was going and and the way the first part of this match went. Like he really was doing everything that like you said, we've grown to love from him. But, once again, I should have just stuck with my instincts predicting, because when it comes to this, if I figured it out when I should have that he was just basically done, I would have known, of course, he's going to put the young guy over on his way out, and he definitely hinted at it. It's my fault. I have no clue what I was thinking now. I think back on it. But at the end of the day, this was well executed. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. It was done so well that I was wrong, and I was like, you know what, this is good. And then it made me emotional because it's kind of poetic in his own way, because he's looking for a fairy tale ending, and we know in real life that ain't how it works. Fairy tales don't exist, and that's another way you can look at that. And you can look at it as Ciampa doing the right thing and putting over someone going forward in NXT, because we know NXT is like his baby. And I have no problem with that. And it just made me emotional to think about what, and another thing that made me emotional, I don't know what's next. Like if I knew that his main roster spot and everything, and I knew he's got big things were coming, maybe I would be, not that I'm not, I felt sad, and I should have been happy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think a little bit of that sadness, it's not only because I'm missing on NXT, but it's just like I have no clue. In 3 months, he could be doing nothing. You know what I mean? Or just lost, like just backstage, and we haven't heard anything from Ciampa. And I would hate to see that and hear and know that. But and for all he's done in NXT, I did like how this all played out overall. So I have to say that I gave it 4 1/4 the match itself. But this played out perfectly, and the match was great.
Well, this is the thing, and if anybody does deserve a fairy tale ending in NXT, it is Tommaso Ciampa. Yes. So this was the one result, and even when Tony D won, this is one of these things where I really wasn't sure, but again, Ciampa wanted to do the right thing, but even with the connection he has with the fans, with a neck injury to come back, and even with Goldie and everything he's ever done, like we said, he's a man that kind of deserved a proper send-off. And like you said, he's saying goodbye to NXT because he doesn't know what his future holds. Like you said, the list of successful talents, especially talents that have been champions in NXT, to then move up to the main roster has been few and far between. He almost like talent that kind of haven't had that much success, because then you're not basing it off what they've been like. But we get the thank you chance, and they came back to him as well, because they did cut away, but then came back. And then we heard Triple H's music, and then we all cried.
Oh, man.
We all cried. I don't care who you are, man.
Definitely got emotional.
Like, we haven't seen Triple H in so long. father and son of NXT together, basically.
I agree. That's exactly what I told my fiance. I'm like, oh, look at his son, look at his dad and his son right there. And she's like, yeah, they definitely favor each other in this shot. But yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like when that happened, it was over with. Like I was emotional. I was a wreck at that point. I was like, oh, don't do this to me, man. Like this is special. But yeah, he definitely deserved it. And like you said, with Triple H coming out there and the chance that they both got, and I was just thinking about it yesterday. I think I saw maybe a tweet too, but I was thinking about it myself. Like I hope he get a chance at WrestleMania or so, again to just see Triple H come out and give an entrance or anything, just to hear that entrance one more time, and watch him come out. He don't have to do anything but like give a promo. But like you said, we miss Triple H. We know it, just want, always want to keep up and make sure things are all right. And with the recent news, and then you have him here to see Ciampa, see what NXT is now in that arena. I thought it was just a special moment. That knocked it up a notch. The star rating for me.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't cried as much as that since Andrew Garfield saved MJ. Like, honestly, I haven't hit the emotional kind of roller.
That's another one.
I didn't know.
We were hyping the theater, bro. We were hyped when that happened. I was like, oh my God, yeah! We cheered.
I burst into tears. It was just one of those. I just didn't know I needed it. It was just.
And then his face, and when they got to the ground, that's when it got me.
Oh my God!
When they got to the ground, like, oh no.
That whole film, I didn't know I needed it, and I got it. But anyway, get back to Takeover, because I'm going to give that 3.95. Like I said, best Tony has looked. Poll wise, Ciampa got 56% of the vote, and prediction wise, well, James, Select Match Pod, Gina, all went Tony D, Monty, you and Jaxie went Ciampa. So scores are James and Gina in the lead with 2, Monty, Jaxie, and Select Match Pod on 1, and we move on to the NXT Tag Team titles: Imperium versus Creed Bros versus MSK, and MSK would have been another threat flipping around with frenetic injury and flying all over the place as they do. But the addition of the Creed brothers and the amateur wrestling scene made it possible for the champions to retain their titles. This felt relatively short, though, seemingly just as picking up steam. It was over and MSK recaptured the titles with a pin seemingly out of nowhere. But I've got more problems. Before we get into the match, why change Imperium's theme song? One of the best theme songs out there.
I didn't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't know why. It didn't need to change at all. I don't understand it. I don't know why. It was recognizable too. It had that tone. You knew in the first few notes came in, you knew what was about to go down, whether it was for Volta or for the team in general. It fit. It was so perfect. I don't get it. I
really don't understand.
I don't understand.
No.
I don't get it, James. It don't make sense. That music fit perfectly. The match you said, the tag match itself, definitely was over quicker than I remember. But this match is when I realized this predictions league changed the way I watch these matches. Like that's when I really realized, because I was rooting for Imperium throughout this match, and I screamed at my TV, and I was like, "Okay, man, I'm taking this a little too serious." But
I was going to say, when Tony D did win, I think people in the street heard me going, "Yes, yes." No, it's not. I mean, the thing with Imperium, I looked at it and I thought most of us have got Imperium, so I can take a little bit of a break,
Yeah, when Tony D kicked out of the fairy tale ending, my head went immediately over my head. I said, "I'm screwed." I'm screwed. I knew it. I'm screwed. There's no way he's losing if he kicked out of that. But yeah, the moment, like you said, this match, and did you discuss how this match ended yet? Should I let you finish?
Yeah, well, we talked about MSK winning, but we saw the Creeds waiting for their spots. The majority MSK keep with nice Tower of Doom spot. Brutus probably with the moment of the match with the cannonball.
Yes, that was nice.
Marcel Barthel catching the majority of it.
Yes.
And boos for MSK as they won and became your new NXT Tag Team
I was booing
Championships.
too.
I got a feeling they will be the attackers of Creed.
They
and
have to be.
a
That's
heel
the only
turn.
way I don't mind this.
That's what I was
I
gonna
wrote
say.
that down. That's the only way I don't mind this is if they were who did it, and I'll take it then. But if it's just because they weaseled their way in, we all can see it, Then once again, Dusty Cup winners here,
I know. They just
won the cup and they didn't even get a straight up tag match.
No.
Like, come on, man.
What's
Like-
weird? And again, if people watching last year's Dusty Classic and saw Kyan Gonzalez and MSK win, then that's acceptable. But it shouldn't be winning the titles
fair.
the following year.
That's a great point. I just thought about that. Did we go backwards a year?
We'll
That's a
put
good
money.
point.
We'll put money on the Creed Bros and Wendy and Kai winning titles next year. That's what we do.
Yeah, like what the hell, man? And I was like, should I blame Imperium? Because they kind of got cocky too, because they were like, oh, we'll beat you both. They did the same thing. So, I could blame them there, but no, I thought this was wrong. If you're gonna change the titles here, in my opinion, then change it with the Creed. Not Imperium.
No.
I mean, don't make MSK lose to. Don't make Imperium lose to MSK here. I don't like it. It's just I don't understand why we're going here. But I'm fine with it if, like you said, they're turning heel, because that'll freshen it up and at least give us a new angle on them and give us possibly a new angle with the Creed Bros going forward. So I think I gave the match 3 3/3.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 just because of that cannonball. I don't.
You know what? That's fair. I give it 4. Yeah, because it was fun. It's like you jumping into a pool.
Yeah, you just
Poor
you know, when
Bartel.
it's like they dive to protect their opponent. It's like he did not. They just told him to cannonball. Like,
Yes. Yes.
protect self.
You're gonna catch all of him.
Yeah. Poll wise for that, MSK 8% of the vote, and they actually won
we
it.
were all wrong.
Creed Bros with 34% and Imperium with 58%. Yeah, I think everybody was wrong with that.
Oh,
we all went Imperium with predictions as well. So it's me and Gina on 2, Monty, Slap Matchpod and Jaxie on 1 still. We get a heartfelt promo from Grimes. He told him he would be a WWE superstar. But he's got he's gone one better now, and he's a WWE champion. I thought that was quite nice. And then the NXT Women's Championship, Mandy Rose versus Kaylee Ray versus Io Shirai versus Cora Jade. Skateboarders came out with Jade, who of course ran to the ring with skateboard in hand. Why would you? I know I can be like this, but if you're with a skateboarding team, surely it's your best chance to skateboard with them to the ring, or am I just,
Yes.
Yes.
She rode like a little bit longer than usual. I guess. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, they could have. You would think that she was gonna run and do one like at least a lap across like everyone else was doing. But no, it is. I'm not at that point surprised. I think. It was not. I will say this. I was worried. I was like, "Oh, they gave her a special entrance." Oh man, my pick. But it was still a cool little moment, I guess, for the skate team.
No, well, like I said, it was different. Kaylee Ray got a great pop. EO is so cool.
New bat, or is
Yes.
it just painted differently?
Well, let's say it's a new bat.
Okay, all right. Cool.
Mandy came out on Barrett's podium, so to speak. I guess it was very much about the people that could work as opposed to that couldn't work. So it was EO and Kaylee Ray doing the majority of the action, which again is no problem. All
Not a bad
parties had moments on top, but whenever Shia Ray had momentum on her side, it didn't really feel like they were truly about to win, and Earfalls were met with less enthusiasm, even though there was a "Let's Go EO" chant. After all the back and forth, Rose stole the pin, pinning Jade after Shia had hit a patented moonsault and eaten a kick from the champion. I will never, in my life except Mandy Rose pinning Io Shirai. No, never.
It's reasonable though. I'm with you. I understand, man, but I'm gonna make a case for it in a second. It's okay.
No. And of course, we should mention a brand new title as well that Mandy had.
White strap.
Like they were two of the best, trying to build the other two. The submission spot looked rough. We did have the destroyer from Jade to Kaylee Ray was incredible. But again, why did they have to pin Io? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the only thing that you can make the case for why Io could take the pin there is the only reason why is because she is the furthest away from another world championship reign. And I think you want going forward, if you're gonna have Mandy retain, you're gonna want Kaylee Ray, and they're obviously building up for Cora Jade at some point. Only reason why I didn't go with her, honestly, because I felt like it was just too soon. The story, she hasn't really done much enough as a single star, in my opinion, to warrant this title reign right now. I don't think she's quite ready yet. But like you said, it was a few spots where I definitely was worried about their safety. And like you said, and that submission, man, it started off rough. But I think what happens, it should have been she should have inverted the clover leaf that time for Cora, because it didn't seem like she could. Like the way it worked out, almost like that was gonna be the nastiest clover leaf ever. That was gonna be rough. Like we would never see Cora again the way that one was going. But anyway, the point is, I thought it was great and it was competitive in that. And they I remember midway through the match saying, okay, this has been really good. Like you said, it had its moments where, like you said, I don't think Kaylee Ray or Io ever really was in the position. Cora Jade had a moment there where like they may give it to her, but I don't think they ever really let Kaylee Ray or Io really get that close, especially when Kaylee Ray does the KLR bomb but goes to the top rope. Like right after it, instead of just pinning her. Like when she hit it, I'm like, oh no, like that's it, right? But she just decided, nope, I'm gonna put myself in harm's way.
There was moments. It's even in like the ladder match where you think it just defies logic that you would just climb the ladder straight away. It's even Tony D did it in one of it. He hit the Falcon Arrow and went for the pin a couple of seconds later, and you just think this whole point of no separation and trying to get the pin as soon as possible. And if they do miss it, the commentators then need to hit home. And again, Excalibur's really good at this, of going, that 3 or 4 seconds waiting was the opportunity there that they missed. And I think that is something that sometimes can be forgotten about. But again, for a match involving Cora Jade and Mandy Rose, it wasn't that bad at all,
Yeah. No, I thought it was really solid, especially when you take all that into account. And then they still have Kaylee Ray and Cora as contenders. And even Io can make the case that it wasn't like you didn't dominate me. You still haven't beaten me one-on-one. Like, so if they want to go forward with Io, I don't think Io is damaged. Like, I do understand what you mean. Just the mention of Mandy Rose beating Io Shirai is like bonkers, right? Think about 2 years ago. Or think about her title run. Would you ever say Mandy Rose would have pinned Io Shirai?
It's just
crazy, right?
It's crazy.
2022.
We're going to score that out of 5.
4.25 I gave. 4.25. Like I said, I thought it ended up being good. It wasn't. It had its moments where I was wondering what was going on, but at the end of the day, it was still fun, and I didn't know who was going to win, and that always made me like a match more when I'm not sure.
No, without a doubt. Like I said, it was quite fun. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, and anybody disagrees, just go back and watch that destroyer on your apron, and you tell me.
Yeah.
Poll-wise, Io Shirai, 8%. Again, 8% for Io. Just what are they doing? Mandy Rose, 23%. Kaylee Ray, 31%. But Cora Jade with 38%. And I think the way they're positioning it looks like maybe Cora Jade will be the one to
the next
take the
champion
title off Mandy. Yeah, it looks like the maybe. But again, what do we know about predictions? You know, it's all about
Exactly. I
just...
think Kaylee Ray is could be a heel turn away from a reign, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe as a babyface, but I don't know. I like Kaylee Ray as a heel, but that's me.
Well, prediction wise, Monty, Select Match Pod, and myself went for Mandy. Jackson went Kaylee Ray. So what that means is that I take an outright lead of 3 points at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Monty, Select Match Pod, and Gina on 2, and Jaxie is on 1. And our next match was Volta versus WrestleManai Night, and I was really surprised this was a co-main event. Like, usually it's a women's match with the don't call them takeovers, but again, it seemed a bit weird that this was just kind of chucked here.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to go this late either. I thought actually it would have been either before the tag or, even right after the tag possibly.
But this is the thing. This was just textbook.
You know what? Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm about to say this was textbook filler. Like we talk about.
Yeah.
Got some shots in, but it was rather a short story giving Volta a victory, and that's more to it. No more manoeuvres. A superplex off the top was probably one of the best moments there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this maybe offsets Imperium's loss for the tag titles, all getting a new shit theme. But even with Volta winning, it wasn't that much of a surprise, really. You think on a stage like this, maybe they could have done a little bit more. This was never really in doubt. And again, I hate saying it because we really like LA Knight and we really like Volta, but this could have been on any episode of NXT.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, 100%. I agree. This was not bad in my opinion, and like you said, I really liked when how we all know how great these chops are. Like, but when he missed the chop because it just wasn't really brutal. He didn't really get a chance to destroy LA Knight like he's done people in the past. But he missed the chop, and the crowd were like, "Whoa!" Like that, he has chops that over that. All you have to do is chop at an opponent, and people are reacting like, "Oh man, that was close," because they know what he could do. But yeah, this was not really the most compelling stuff. I do think is even no matter what LA Knight did, no one was going to believe he was going to win. But yeah, they definitely I expected a little bit better. I would say that I did expect better.
The thing about Volta is, and we just talk about it quickly, is it's simple moves. You're never going to see something, 450s or anything, but it's power bombs, clotheslines, chops. It's very simple offense. But again, this match was going never really in doubt. And what happens next? Well, I'm thinking if he's in the co-main and he's that dominant, it would be looking at the NXT title coming pretty soon.
Oh, Lord. Poor Ziggler. Ziggler's not surviving that. That's all I gotta say. Like Ziggler is great, crafty. I don't think he's surviving that. So I don't know where we'll be or when that challenge may be coming. But yeah, I don't know if Ziggler's gonna make it. We'll see.
Well, I tell you what, though, the match I'm gonna give it 3 3/4 out of 5. Just I think because of the talent.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought what they did in the match wasn't bad. I thought it was good. So yeah, I'm in the same range, 3 1/4, 3 3/4. So around that range, doesn't matter.
And I tell you something, LA Knight on the polls as well got 39%, which is a lot more than exactly.
Wow.
Maybe we were thinking. Of course, Volta with 61%. Prediction wise, and then I think this is where again Jackson and Gina are not joining us here tonight. They're going to join us tomorrow night for WrestleMania Night 2. But we've got to tell them about Walter. Like, do not go LA Knight. That's what's happened here. Gina Jackson went LA Knight. You and I,
really?
with Select Match Pod, went Walter. I know, they threw it away themselves. They threw it away. But then again, we might be easy for us because... we're the so-called experts, but we'll get to the main event in a minute.
Yeah, fair. We watch it, so it makes sense. But,
Yeah, the scores at this moment are James 4, Monty Select Match Pod 3, Gina 2, Jaxie 1. And we move on to the main event.
I'm staying right there.
Well, the important thing to remember is safety comes first. And he might be a bad 50-pound Steiner son, but you still have to wear safety goggles. All right, there's health and safety in place to make sure things like this don't happen. And he tried to hide them as well, bless him. He tried to hide them, but he couldn't as he broke through. But I mean, Bron Breakker breaking something in every NXT title match is kind of become a tradition now. You know?
Yes, I think he should just do it. Main roster, whatever is next, wherever he goes, or whatever he does, or next NXT special. Break stuff from now on. Just why not? Why not just bring him something to destroy every show? Why not? I don't have a problem with it at this point. Even though I'll talk about how this was probably a sign.
This is the thing. The main event, and you're thinking at this point in time, I'm going, well, this is obviously Bron, but you never ever sure. It was a simple story to tell. And overcomplicating it would have just been messy. Ziggler had some outside help from Bobby Roode. Breakker was a rookie, was outclassed here and there, but still had the power and hunger to nearly win the title back on numerous occasions. Surprisingly, after Breakker was kicked out of a zigzag, the show still managed to land a super kick and retain the title. The crowd weren't really sure. They had been booing Bron. And I think some of them did want Ziggler to win, but didn't really understand. And the question is Breakker's time in the brand already done? I will ask you another question as well. I just thought of it. If this is Breakker done, before we talk about Ziggler remaining in NXT, would you want to see a Bron Breakker to Tommaso Ciampa tag team on the main roster to actually help him out a little bit?
Yes. I think that's the perfect way. That's what I was thinking about myself. That's why when he did it, you come out with the chainsaw, he did the black and gold letter at the War Games, and it made sense, and, because he's, we're done with that. And now it's like, why would you do the NXT 2.0 colored logo kind of, and you destroy that. So maybe that was just a sign telling you that his time's up. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, and he's just like breaking stuff. That could most likely be the answer. Either way it goes,
people just go, his name's Breakker. That's why.
Right. That's why it's happening. His name is Breakker. He's just breaking stuff. Don't think too deeply, man. But yeah, I agree. I think that would be a great way because you have the veteran presence, and I think they'll both benefit. Both of them. Ciampa will benefit because it'll give him something to do and someone that he can help out, and it's like an immediate thing for both of them to do, in my opinion, instead of them just getting there, debuting, and then in 2 weeks not really knowing where to go with them. And then you can just slowly but surely get them better, tell whatever story you want to tell. Have Ciampa turn heel on them maybe down the line. Like you got a lot of options that can spring out and it can help Breakker on the run, especially if his time is already now. Because like you said, he's great. He's very explosive in the ring and all that, but he's definitely still rough around the edges at times. You saw it here in this main event, but yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Ciampa and Breakker in his debut.
Well, one of the things is I haven't seen Dolph in shorts in ages.
In a long time, right? It felt weird.
His legs have changed. I don't know.
They're skinnier.
Knee brace or he skipped leg day.
Because he's skinnier. Yeah. If you go back to when he used to wear shorts in the day, he was a little bit. He had way more muscle. Back then a little bit. Now he's way leaner. So I think that kind of showed in the way his thighs looked.
It's like
I agree, it was weird.
It's like he forgot his trousers. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go out my pink pants now.
I'm not gonna lie. Originally, that's what I thought because the color scheme didn't really go together. I was like, is this really gonna be his gear? But I don't know.
We should say Bron hit his finisher and Roode came back out to pull the referee off, so to speak.
Like, screw the ref. That's a first, by the way. That's a first. Throw me out and I just come back.
Yeah.
No one's stopping me. That proves that no one is ever stopping people from coming back once they get to round.
I did think for a second when Roode had referee distracted, someone might attack Bron from behind, like Volta or someone like that, to maybe set up a feud. But they used the exposed turnbuckle, the poke to the eye, and a super kick.
Yeah.
And Ziggler, we talk about Bron Breakker. I mean, this is one of Ziggler's biggest victories in a very long time. And
oh my goodness,
you know, we talk about like the NXT title has kind of rejuvenated Ziggler in a way with Rude. And I'm kind of, and yeah, people maybe expect Bron, but again, like the kickoff show, expect the unexpected. The only thing I didn't like was Ziggler calling ref, and with the cameras on it, you can tell straight. Why is he calling the ref when he's got Bron in position for a super kick? It's because he's giving him notes to pass on to Bron, but it's just too obvious. Ziggler's a veteran. Don't get me wrong, I love Dolphs, and he's one of the best talents that we've had, but for me, that's just a little bit too sloppy, you know?
Yeah, that's the first thing I wrote down was that this match really got sloppy at times. You know, but it really got once it got in a certain gear, it did get really compelling. You know, and the fans got into it too. You know, they were kind of split. You know, some people wanted Breaker, but a lot more of them sounded like they wanted Ziggler to win. And this has been great for Ziggler. This has been great for Ziggler.
Well, I think, you know, the end, we'll talk about the main event in itself. Like I said, it's a good match between the two. What are you going to score out of 5?
I gave it a 4.5. Yeah, I actually, like I said, I thought it was really good. It was compelling, and I like again what Dolph is doing. He uses craftiness to outsmart the rookie in the end. And you know, even if I want to say I was wrong, I just liked how they did it. You know, and even if Breaker is leaving or not, you know, I didn't mind this in the end because I'm really happy that Dolph is in this spot because I did think he still pulled a really, really good match out of this, even with those sloppy moments. So, you know, I liked it. I gave it 4.5.
Yeah, I'm going to give it out a 4. Like I said, it's still good stuff. And it was a shock. It was a shocking ending. And a lot of like so-called experts, you and I, were thinking Bron. And like I said, Ziggler getting a win just shows that anything can happen. It's got that kind of old takeover feel about it, you know. And I think as an overall event, I mean, we'll have a look now. I mean, my match of the night was the ladder match, without a doubt, and it'll be the same with you as well.
100%.
MVP of the night, you know, people might have a go at me. Well, I'm going to go Brutus because of that cannonball. Because there's no way a man his size should try that.
I'm not mad at that because at least you can decide on one person. Like the only thing I can do was just like the entire ladder match. I thank you guys for that. That match sticks out in my mind. Like it was just fun. It was just good fun. Like you could cut your brain off for a second and just let them go. That's what that was for me. And I don't know why. You know, I don't know. It stuck out to me, and I just couldn't decide on anyone. If I had to, maybe I'll give it. You know, oh man, I'm gonna sound biased. I was gonna say Mello.
No, I mean it's like,
screw it, Mello.
The Mello ladder match. I am getting
Santos. You know, doesn't matter. Yeah, them two, Santos, Mello.
I'm getting a little voice in my ear telling me I forgot to do the polls for Bron Breakker versus Dolph Ziggler.
Go ahead.
It's just a voice in my head. Bron Breakker, 77% of the vote to Dolph Ziggler's 23%. So a lot of people.
It's a shocker, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we talk about the event as a whole. Do you know what? It was a weird time to watch something like that at 5 p.m. I felt so American, you know, normal times. And even then, I was eating hot dogs and going, USA, US. I was really getting into it. You know, not wearing a mask. You know, all the things.
We're watching it at noon. It was weird.
That's what I said. Well, the thing is, it's like we now. I mean, as we could be doing this live, it's like 10:10 in the UK. The kickoff for WrestleMania starts in about 50 minutes, but it's another 2 hours until it actually begins. So it's gonna be 5 o'clock in the morning until I finish night 1 of Mania. And of course, boys and girls, we are live tomorrow night for another show, and we've got night 2 of WrestleMania. So it's going to be a very, very long weekend. But again, I didn't mind it. Yes, they bit off more they can chew with the arena. We mentioned this before. No way they were going to sell out And the thing is that pisses me off about WWE, and again, I may be wrong, but with tickets for a WrestleMania, stick in NXT for free, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Have the arena sold out.
It's true.
Or people are coming in who are paying X amount for Mania tickets to throw in an NXT. I'm not saying you pay extra for Raw, but with SmackDown or Hall of Fame ceremony, it should all be, included in the price.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is what put people off. It's the reason why some people haven't been to WrestleMania, because of how expensive it can be anyway. But from a show that started off with Kyle and Gonzalez shocking the world to ending with Ziggler shocking the world, I think it was a really, really good show. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best show of the year, but we had a quality match in it with the ladder match, and every other match kind of didn't disappoint. The only one that kind of was maybe a little bit disjointed was LA Knight and Volta, but I'm invested in the characters enough, and it was over before too long. And 2.5 hours with 6 matches did feel like an old takeover, and I don't mind it at all. So I'm going to give it 8.75 out of 10 because it was for a moment like having the old NXT back, but enjoying the new generation, Tony D and your Bron Breakers and your Creed brothers and stuff like that. You can see now the move to is happening, and maybe a few positives coming out of it.
Yeah, and like you said, we did talk about that. And, we thought it was going to be tough anyway. So the fact that they made it look as good as it looked, like you can kind of tell the way it sounded in there. It wasn't necessarily full to capacity or anything going on. You could see the seats, especially when they zoomed out at times. But
it was it was the echo. That was one of the things. The
echo. Yeah, and that's how you really could tell, because they tried to make it look as good as they could for the presentation. But again, I understand. I know exactly what you mean. I missed one of the greatest takeovers, ever, because of the prices and because of like what you mentioned earlier. So that's just such a really great point. I have no clue why that's just not included with the entire experience, because it should be, but especially as what it is now. Like, even at the time, I understood at the time, because like what they were doing when Gargano and Ciampa was going at it and stuff like that. You don't mind, take my money. You know what I mean? You can think of it if you have it to spend. But with this and with everything being so new and different, you would think that by now they would they could do something like that. But overall, I gave it an 8.5. I thought, it wasn't the greatest build in the world. I thought a lot of stuff was rushed and all that when you think about some of these matches. But at the same time, overall, I had a really good time watching the show. And even if that had a lot to do with the prediction league, or whether that had to do with the quality of some of these matches, I really liked it. And I thought, anything that have a perfect match to me, like that ladder match on it, I'm going to hold in high regard. I'll probably go back and watch it, because sometimes I go back and watch really good matches. So I have no problem with that. And I gave it an 8.5.
Yeah, and it's a perfect point. And again, listeners, pick a team. Pick Monty, pick James, pick Gina, pick Jaxie, and then go with us during this event as well. Because, like you said, it makes the worst show passable, because there's points on the line and it means something. And it all will come to pass at the end of the year, when there's a reason for all of this. And speaking of which, this is a huge night in 2 ways. Because first, it's Monty's first loss on WWE predictions this year.
Right.
Day 1, Rumble and Chamber smashed it. Unfortunately, the takeover, not a takeover. And it's my first W pay-per-view point, so I don't know if that means anything.
There you go.
But final scores for tonight.
I was so happy you represented us well. I thought I let you down, man. This is the first time I actually tallied it up myself before we got here. Usually I just wait, because I don't, I let the results be revealed. But yeah, I tallied up myself, and I'm like, James, I almost let you down. I just hope I'm not too far down. But yeah, I don't know. I was off my game. That's all I have to say. I'm glad you got it, though.
Well, that's what I say. I appreciate that. And I feel exact same when you win. But final scores for the NXT show was me on four. A three-way tie for second. Gina, Monty, and Select Match Pod. I mean, Gina sneaked into second with Ziggler,
Right?
retaining that title. That was quite a
Awesome,
move
right?
from Gina there. Select Match Pod and herself on 3, and Jaxie in last place on 2. But again, Jaxie has no experience with NXT, so that's how a point in it. So it means for W pay-per-view scores, Monty is still in the lead with 3. Jaxie and Gina have got 2, and James is on 1. But, and we're going to get into it in a minute, I have never lost a WrestleMania.
Okay.
We've got 2 nights. So, I'm getting excited before we burst that bubble, Monty, tomorrow. But there's a chance that you and I could be level by the end of this weekend. Eh? Who would have thought that? I would have thought.
Right?
Yeah, it's not going to happen, but man can dream.
Yeah, this is getting tight, and I like it. I want it this way. It's gonna make just as it goes on by the end of the year, it's gonna be so competitive. Just wait.
It's April,
I can
and we're
feel
already doing it.
Yeah, I'm already into it. Tonight, I'm just hoping things go my way. I really am.
Well, speaking of which, that is NXT Takeover or NXT Stand. And again, listen back to the show. Anytime I accidentally say Takeover, take a shot because you will be around. I'm sorry. It's Stand and Deliver, not Takeover. I can't help it, all right? We're going to move on now to something that we can do, and that is WrestleMania. We have got night 1 here tonight. Now, Monty... level of excitement for night 1 of WrestleMania, and what is the match you're most looking forward to? I know it's a big question.
Yeah, it is a big question. My level of excitement for night 1 is moderate to high because I do. Maybe again, I know it's going to be repetitive, but I am giving credit to this prediction league because, to be honest, if we be honest, and the more we talk about WrestleMania as these shows go, you'll see what I mean. I wasn't really big on the build of a lot of this stuff that's going on. I could care less about a lot of the stuff. As much as I like the Mysterios, I could do without that part. The tag matches on here, whatever. Who cares about Drew and Happy? Come on now, who cares? We got to be honest about that.
Hang on. Don't ruin.
Who cares?
Script. Don't ruin the script. That's saying I'm not going to.
You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't go down the list.
Time.
You're right. That's fair. I don't want to go down the list. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. You're right. I'm still going to delve into it and tell you why I don't care about it. But the point is, I'm looking forward to really Bianca and Becky, believe it or not, because I'm really interested to see how this goes. Even though I'm expecting it to go a certain way, I want to know, is it going to be, a squash? Is it going to be a competitive contest that we expected at SummerSlam? What's going to happen? I'm really interested in how that turned out. That's been the best build, in my opinion, out of everything on night 1. Even though I love everything Seth has been doing, the risk of them letting me down is making me not pick that.
Well, the thing is, I will say a couple of things. Even watching NXT and NXT UK with yourself and stuff like this, and the amount of wrestling that both you and I do watch, whether it will be AEW, New Japan, stuff like this, there's a sense of accomplishment or a reason for watching it, because I take up so much time with Raw and SmackDown each week that when we finally do talk options, there is a kind of reasoning behind it, and I feel that, especially with WrestleMania, with all this build-up that we've had, and even with NXT earlier, that it kind of is worthwhile now to try and pay attention, to kind of what's going on, especially with the predictions that we've got. But I found myself in this past week or so, especially the past couple of days, really going back to my childhood, because the first WrestleMania that I stayed up for to watch was WrestleMania 15, Austin and Rock main event in that one. I know, long time ago now, but to feel the excitement of Stone Cold Steve Austin main event in another WrestleMania with someone like Kevin Owens, who we're huge fans of, who has built the feud up so well, and of course got Stunner versus Stunner. Now, I know it could just be like a Stunner and over, but there's something inside of me that is just so excited about it. And I think that's what where we've been knocked down so many times. It's like, why do you get knocked down? To pick yourself back up again. And it gives you hope. And I think, even with this card of WrestleMania, I look at it and I go, that you could say that there's a lot of matches I look forward to, but there is potential to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And that is what I'm always going to try and go for. And I know it's a glass half full rather than a glass half empty, but it's just, it's got to be. You can't live life. You just can't.
No, I understand. Yeah, I hope for a very, very fun show. I'm just saying, I was going into the build, and like I said, we'll get more in detail about that. And you're not lying. Austin, we're all winning now. The Austin and Kevin Owens segment, everyone, we're gonna win, and I don't really care how it ends or what it ends up becoming. I just have so much faith, especially if they're allowed time and able to do what they want to do. I got faith in what Kevin can do. I got faith definitely in what Austin is all about, and where in that environment at WrestleMania. That's gonna be great. I understand exactly what you mean. By the way, I am young, but I do remember that match. Austin Luton did not even have a vest on that night. Yeah, so I've watched that match back plenty of times. That's one of the details that stuck out to me as a child. Like, where's Vest at?
and after all those years of trying to find out why, and Austin just saying he forgot to pack it, and I was going, but what's the meaning?
Right.
What's the meaning behind the T-shirt? And he's like, I just forgot to, it wasn't in luggage. But again, it's really weird because even with the podcast, and it's like starting in 2015. Well, first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 32, and now we're on the 38, and I'm going, where's the time gone? All those WrestleManias that even been covered on the podcast. But like I said, it is WrestleMania. We are going to look at it. It's the AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, and the event card. Well, we start off with the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Now, I'm going to go through the card the way I want to, not the way it's probably going to be lined up on the show. So Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, and we're going to have a look at kind of the build up towards it. So we can start February 28th with Raw, with Blair teaming up with Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley as they try to beat Lynch, Doudrop and Nikki Ash in a thrilling match with Bianca's hair a major talking point after the bout. Now, Bianca's used the hair as a weapon before, but has she ever used it more viciously on Becky Lynch? And the scars there, we talked about Duke Hudson and Volta. Those scars weren't fake.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was there were whelps as we call it in the South. Like that, they left a mark, and it definitely strike. And we always like you said, in the past when she used it, it always made her just a wicked sound, and that was just. And again, by the way, I'm probably saying something traumatic, so I'm sorry, but if you know anything about disciplinary tactics, she beat the mess out of Becky Lynch. Like I used, as someone who was raised by older people, I used to get beat with a belt. So this reminded me of that. Just imagine her using the thick braid that way. It was entertaining, I must say, though. I enjoyed it. I don't know, when it's not you, it's very, very funny.
This is Schadenfreude. Yeah, happiness and misfortune of others. Well, like I said, it was quite a good segment, actually. Then March 14th, Raw, Lynch dressed as C-3PO, or an Oscar, take what you will, wrapped a chair around Bianca's neck and drove her into the ring post. And then March 21st, Lynch came out and gave an interrupted promo about her upcoming Raw Women's Championship match against Belair. It was a good speech that allowed to shine as a heel.
Yeah.
And then finally, Becky Lynch attacked Bianca Belair on the go-home show of Raw during a promo, tried to cut a braid off, but the EST was able to fault her and ended up cutting off quite a bit of Big Time's Beck's hair. This surprised me a little bit because think the face standing tall before WrestleMania, and I'm thinking, no, they're not going to do this. And has anybody ever had a haircut where it's not affected them? Again, I don't...
Yeah, it's not like it was Molly Holly.
No.
Nowhere near that extent.
Have they? A couple of questions. Obviously, I want to know who you've gone for in this one to start off with here. But Has this been the best build-up that we could have had for Lynch and Blair, for Blair to take a little bit of time off and kind of concentrating on the hair, or do we want more? And which way do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think no, this is not the best way they could have done it. I do think this is the best out of the two women's storylines. We'll get to the other one later. But yeah, this they could have done it much better. I mean, honestly, I don't know if this clip have made the airwaves everywhere like I seen it, but Becky pretty much suggested a much better way, like highlighting the fact that they are the only two women to win their main event winners. So like just that is enough right there, and then you have the history. You know, they didn't necessarily have to go in this route. It could have been done, maybe executed a little bit better, but I don't necessarily mind it either. Even honestly, because I think Becky's been killing in the promos, and I'm with you with the babyface standing tall here right before the show. I know, we know what tradition is when it comes to that, but part of me just feels like it's just I think if you go that route, if you let Becky and even if they do the heel turn after, where like if Bianca loses, I'm going Bianca here by the way to win. But if they go with Bianca to lose here, and they turn her heel, or like similar to like what they did with Shinsuke, it will still have a similar effect in my opinion, unless you're gonna do a story where she goes crazy because she can't beat Becky Lynch. But even then, I don't think that's what we want from Bianca Belair, because she's fine as she is, and I don't know. I think this is her moment to recapture and redeem it from that moment. Whether it's you squash her back, or whether it's in a competitive great contest. I think Bianca wins, and that's just the way I think will be the best way to go here on this stage. I don't think you have the benefit here is that I think you should put her over and have her on that level with the Becky Lynch, who we already look at is on that level with Ronda Rousey and with Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have multiple people who are on that level instead of just the same three from that main event years back.
This is what worries me, because you think about the men's division as well, and this is the issue. You know, Cena got on Rock's level, but it took years to do, and now with Reigns, and you just worry about pulling the trigger. And it's an excellent point with Belair. I will say I've taken the pictures of the predictions that I've done. I'm going to ask you first, but I have already done my predictions, so it's like I'm changing my answer. The only reason I'm going to do this is because I've got Jaxie's, Gina's, and Select Match Pod predictions for this. It could be a lot easier of me just shouting out 4 after you do your 1. But I agree with you with Belair, and I think it is her moment, and I think it would be a wonderful way to start WrestleMania with this matchup, given the 20-minute, half-hour match that we needed at SummerSlam, here with Belair going over nice and clean. What worries me is that you and I are the only ones to go for Belair, because Jaxie, Gina, and Select Match Pod have all gone Becky. So I'm worried.
Oh my God. My stomach dropped. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, no, but that's fine. I'm sticking with it, man. Maybe we looking glass full here, but I don't know. Like she hasn't lost in years. Like, why? She don't need this. She don't need this, man.
We're gonna stay confident in our picks here.
Stay strong.
We're gonna find out. We won't find out tomorrow on the live show. You probably will work it out by then, but we'll leave it until we do the full review of Night 1 and Night 2, obviously on Tuesday or Wednesday. We move on to our second match on the card, and we're going to do New Day versus Sheamus and Rich Holland. Now, you and I have talked about, obviously, Big E and the incident that happened with Ridge on SmackDown the following week after. They had Ridge beat Kofi. And then the week later, it looked like it was on March 25th, so it looks like it was going to be Kofi and Ridge again in a rematch. But it was the returning Xavier Woods, don't call him King. The match was a sprint. Hardly welcome back Woods, probably deserved, and he still won. And there's not a lot else to really talk about this. So what are your thoughts and what is your prediction?
Yeah, like you said, not much here. I guess you could say the story here is revenge for Big E, but, it hasn't even really been that personal. Like, as personal as a storyline like that probably should be. So, this is just something that I think they needed the New Day on the card, I think, or they wanted the New Day on the card, and Sheamus is solid, and you want to give Holland this spot. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to. I get sad sometimes when I see Butch. By the way, Pete Dunne is doing a really good job at just being an uncontrolled, book. I like Pete Dunne, so I didn't want to talk about it. That was
but in all honesty, he will get himself over. And then as soon as he does,
right? Like, you see what I'm saying? I can see potential in that, even if it is Butch.
He's got that character work. That he's definitely working well.
It's just great. That's all it is. Pete is good at what he does. But it was not much to this build. I'm going Holland and Sheamus here. The fact that it wasn't much to it is making me think that's the only thing that's making me second guess myself, because it is the New Day, it is WrestleMania. Maybe want to give Woods a nice pin over Holland here, just to have a feel good moment. But I don't know. My first thought process was Holland and Sheamus. Usually when I change my mind, I get burned. So I just tried to stay solid. So I'm going with Holland and Sheamus, even though I don't have a really good argument either way.
No, but if they announce it for kickoff, we're fucked. Because I've gone the hills as well, but usually faces win on kickoff.
That's true.
So we are in trouble. But again, out of the five of us, only Jaxie went New Day. Everybody else went for Ridge and Sheamus. So I suppose overall, but again,
all right.
I mean, it's big. The only thing I was thinking about, how fit is Big E? Like, could he come out and cause a distraction? Like,
could he walk out?
Yeah,
right.
Like
could he make an appearance?
That would be a moment. But
that's
again,
the question.
If it happens or not. Next tag team matchup again: Dominic and Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul and The Miz. We go back to Raw, March 7th. The Miz came out to a warm welcome for his hometown Cleveland crowd, but the mood changed when he brought out Logan Paul. Jerry Lawler joined him in the ring. The Miz trashed Cleveland to get some heat. The whole thing was a big waste of Raw, March 21st. Dom and Ray beat the Dirty Dogs. The Miz attacked Ray after the match and unmasked him at ringside. Ray covering his face. And then March 28th, for The Miz and Mysterio had their match. This brought out Logan Paul in the mask he stole from Ray. Dominic was thrown out, but Ray still won and managed to get his mask back. I could give a fuck about this match, but again, it's WrestleMania. It's Logan. I don't get Paul's. I don't get Logan Paul. I don't get the other one. The Miz is, remember has The Miz ever been a proper professional wrestler? And it's not a dig at him. It's a dig at how he gets used in kind of every situation,
Wasn't he in Bad Bunny's situation last year?
It's like he's a safe pair of hands. What are your thoughts, and who are you going for?
They trust The Miz with everything but a world title. But they trust him with everything but a world title, right? I promise you, it's crazy how that worked out.
Get a t-shirt, mate.
Right, it's crazy, man. But yeah, by the way, I'm with you. The pause, it's not like even a thing where, since I'm American and they're popular over here or whatever, that is, nope, you're right. I don't get it either. So don't feel like it's something you're missing there. I don't know what it is. Kids like him, I guess, or he has a fan base, and that's enough for WWE to put him on our TV screens, unfortunately. And, he gets heat, so I guess that, whatever, but it's not the heat that you want, It's to get away from us. It's not like, I think they think he's over and, like, we would love to boo him, but no, we just don't want anything to do with it. But, the Mysterios, I hope they win. I picked them to win it just because, in the moment, it is a celebrity, and I know it's WrestleMania, so it's a chance, but it's The Miz, too. So, and The Miz... and I love The Miz, but let's just be honest.
I did.
Logan Paul will end up not getting pinned, and Miz will still lose this match probably. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's hard for me to ever trust The Miz in these situations. Unfortunately, like you said, with the way they present him. But you're right. I'm with you. If you tell me to go the other way, I'm not even mad at you if you go the other route. Honestly, I'm really not.
You've said it, and the only reason I'm doing it is a celebrity at WrestleMania.
Yeah, celebrity.
It's a celebrity, and even if it's a heel, Logan Paul diving off the top, pinning Dom, don't mean shit to WWE. Do you know what I mean? It's not
like that'll suck. Like,
yeah,
I don't want it to happen to Ray. He's a legend, and Dom. Like, don't do that. Don't stunt his growth, any growth that he possibly has. Like, I don't. Yeah, but you're right. I can see it. You're right. That's what I hate. You are right.
Well, and again, Monty, I don't want to give that pit in your stomach, but you are the only one that got Mysterios out of the four of us as well, with Jaxie, Gina, and
I get it.
All going for the hills. Well, another match that we don't give a fuck about, but we have to talk about, is, of course, Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. And Drew McIntyre needs a bonus because he said on a SmackDown that this is his most important WrestleMania match, even though he has faced Roman Reigns, the head of the table at WrestleMania, and the WWE Championship in the past 2 years. This is his most important match. On the 28th of March, Raw Go Home, Drew beat Corbin and Mancap. And then Sunday, April 1st, it wasn't April Fool's, Happy Talk actually main evented SmackDown. And Corbin made a joke about Drew's late mother. And of course, Drew, the best thing about this, though, Monty, I watched it with my dad. And he went, what fucking McIntyre's pissed. He's Scottish as well. And so I can get the accent. And he went, McIntyre's well pissed off. And I went, he is. I said, he's looking fucking huge. I mean, that was the positive out of this whole feud. What's my dad go, oh, look you. I mean,
that's nice.
Why are they doing this? Why are we so unhappy by this, Monty? If someone's listening and going, well, Drew's on the card at WrestleMania, why are you so upset? What are the reasonings behind it?
He could be doing so much more. And I think we all know it. We can see it. Something more serious in general. Like, we have a United States champion who, don't get me started on what happened in the Battle Royal. Don't get me started on that,
We're saying tomorrow. You can't see my invite.
That's another thing that makes me like, you know what? Logan Paul is going to win, right? Because look at what they just did with Madcap. Like, why am I thinking they're going to do anything not disrespectful? But anyway, the United States champion don't have a match on WrestleMania. Intercontinental champion just defended his match randomly against a tag team. Even if we don't want Drew to be Intercontinental champion, I'd rather just a random competitive Ricochet Drew McIntyre match. Even if it ended up being 5 minutes, I would take it over him and Corbin in most likely a squash. Like, even if you respect Corbin, and like, honestly, no one kicks out at the end of the day. So, like, it really should be respected. But every time you want to give Corbin some credit for something, WWE just wants to ruin him and make him worse. So it just, I don't, like I said, it's not even Corbin. I don't even blame him because I don't think anything is his fault. It's just they're trying to make something that I don't know if anyone has noticed, but no one really cares about it. And they ruined something when he was broke and, like, Corbin had something going there, I think. And they just like, nope, we do not want that. You can't do that. You can't get over.
The thing is as well is that they've dragged this out for like 5 months.
Yes,
now.
That's another thing. This has happened for like 6 months, it feels like.
But the promo video for this made Corbin look really good. And you thought, if he was picking victories the past few months and actually going somewhere, he would be,
if you took him seriously,
a bit of a threat. Yeah, exactly. But because he's not, and as I said, the level of mid-card talent now, or top-level heels or mid-card, is just completely gone. Like you said, the Intercontinental Champion Ricochet is having to fight a tag team. And we've got Drew v. Corbin. And like I said, Corbin, he won the Andre Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Yes, he retired Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. But this is just, like you said.
Like, you should take him seriously. Yeah. But, like, you can't. It's impossible to.
It is bad. So, I'm I think everybody's going Drew there. Monty,
McIntyre.
I don't want to put anything in
all
your
day.
mouth, so to speak. But
McIntyre. No, trust me, you don't have to worry about that one.
That's a very different conversation. We need Jackson and Gina because otherwise we're going down a different path. We need... Up next is SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Jimmy and Jey Uso versus Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura. And this is a match I have been really struggling with because I've been thinking Boogs and Nakamura for the longest time. But then again, Nakamura turning heel on Boogs, at WrestleMania, they do that, and Nakamura doesn't win championships, so that is a possibility.
Oh, great logic! I love it.
But we'll look at the feud, and March 11th, the Usos set out to make clear their WrestleMania plans, but Nakamura and Boogs interrupted the moment. Boogs with his knee wrapped up suckered Jey into a match with a title opportunity at WrestleMania. Boogs was faking and pinning for the win. This has actually made the faces look clever, which they never do in WWE. On March 25th, we had Jimmy Uso squaring off with Nakamura, which Nakamura scored a victory. And just when he's in singles action, you realise how good he actually is here. And then April 1st, SmackDown Go Home, Usos and Theory beat Naka, Boogs and Balor. So, it's a shame WWE don't care about their tag division. Otherwise, they could build up quite a good one. But what were your thoughts on this match and who are you going to go for?
Yeah, I agree. Believe it or not, this was way more difficult than I thought it had any reason to be because the build itself, like you said, like you just described, it's been okay. Like you said, it was nice that the baby faces don't look dumb for a change. They actually do something, like you said, that you give them a nod of the cap for. And, I like how over Shinsuke and Boogs seem to be wherever they go on SmackDown. They really seem to be doing with,
Sorry, my bad.
I get it. No, I get it. It's catchy. I wasn't really too sure what I thought of them as a team or how to take them like seriously, but I understand. I love Shinsuke, so like you said, that singles match. Anytime you get a chance to just really get Shinsuke, give him some time to build it. Shinsuke is a master at it, and I really had a hard time. I didn't know where to go with this, but I was thinking that let's go with the Usos. They already have the longest reign. They don't have much of a tag division because even if they win, this is the problem on both sides. Where the hell are we going next in the tag division? Can you tell me anyone? Do you go back to the War Raiders, or who else is even there besides them? That Lothario, so you got to give the Lothario a shot, even though they just lost to one man. You see my point? Where do you go next? Either way, I don't know what to do either way. So I'm just keep it on the Usos. You can't trust anybody else really, unless we go back to the New Day. But but even then, again, I just say stick with the Usos. I'd rather the Usos New Day versus than Shinsuke and Boogs and New Day or whatever. I doubt that's what they would go next anyway. So Usos, man.
But the thing is, what made my decision? Because if you look at it, Nakamura and Boogs should really win. We're about 100 days away from Usos holding the titles for a year, which would probably be around SummerSlam time. But what really made my mind up was the last shot of WrestleMania Sunday should be Roman Reigns lifting both
with the
Usos. The Usos with their titles lifting that up as well, being the ones.
Yeah.
So, I think we're all gone Usos 100%. There. Yeah, all five of us with Usos. Up next, well, like I say, the Kevin Owens show. Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin. We start off March 7th for KO come to an end. The show was planned for getting a spot in WrestleMania. He eventually challenged Steve Austin to appear on the KO show. You and I actually spoke about Austin's response as well. As we move on to Raw March 14th with Rollins. Went from being in a funk to his usual jovial self after one backstage conversation with Owens. He asked KO to join him in the ring for his idea to get himself on Mania. His idea was to have Stone Cold on his own chat show. I don't know how he come up with that. And Rollins, who was moaning at management with DeVille and Pierce about not treating him right, bending over backwards and putting a match in the main event so Rollins and Owens could face. Owens did get the victory with a Stone Cold Stunner, leaving Rollins a little bit desperate, shall we say, but we're going to get on to more with Seth in a bit. We'll skip to Raw March 21st with Stone Cold Steve Austin's music hit, and it was Kevin Owens who came out. Now, The Miz dressing up as a Rock is a great moment, but I think this might be better just because of how Owens is a little bit more rotund, shall we say, as peak Austin. But the giant knee braces, the bald cap, the T-shirts, the halfway through his promo, Austin's music hitting again, and then telling him you really are stupid for believing. And then hitting one of the ringside techs with a stunner and delivering the beer in the ring, even not catching the beer. And I don't even know if he'd done this on purpose or not. But
on purpose.
Yeah, that kind of embarrassment of like, oh, people laugh at me, and then hitting the stunner as well. I'm loving this, and Owens is loving life. It was a great segment.
Yes. You can tell he was having fun. He loved every second of it. How could you not? Like, everybody has at least mimicked Austin's entrance with the glass breaking and tries to just walk out there with that attitude. So he got to do it on live, on like TV, riled up everybody, had everybody thinking that Austin was just making a surprise appearance out of nowhere. And it was just executed perfectly, man. That's the only thing I can say about it. I enjoyed every second of the promo. Was great. Also, like, his reply to Austin's response and all of that was just pretty good. Like, this was great. Like, I loved every second of it. I had not a bad thing to say about it. Like, no, it was great.
It shouldn't be this good, especially with one guy just doing the majority of the work. But it really is fucking working. It's the mystique of Stone Cold, because they've done it with Stone Cold before, and it's that what you're going to get. So it's, you can't really build up. And then, of course, the go-home show for Raw, we get a banging Stone Cold video and a great promo confirming its main event slot, really. Owens saying it is going to be main event slot. A couple of things here. Again, we talked about it earlier, but when you've got wrestlers trying to explain who Austin is, and I'm going, how do people not know who Stone Cold is? Like, they do not know. It is kind of scary that it has been nearly, 2 decades.
Because even if you're younger, you mean to tell me no older fans or nothing else, like a video game, whatever it is, nothing led you to know anything about Stone Cold? Like, that's the tough part. I don't know why they treat us like we're just, I
can understand, maybe for kids, will not know Stone Cold, but when it's someone that's, any time there's a network program, you're going to see usually Stone Cold hitting the stun and talk about Attitude Era. One of the things I did love, and we talk about long-term storytelling or long-term, commitment in WWE, KO Mania 6 T-shirt. The Battle of the Stunners as you got. I would buy that top without a doubt. And Owens 316 saying my stunner is better than yours. It's fantastic. Anybody saying Owens should have gone to AEW team with the Bucks, that is going to be better than the main event of WrestleMania against Austin. You believe that? It's just, I know it's turned around quick for Kev, but it is unbelievable. Really going to do predictions for this, but I will maybe ask you a question. Do you think this will be a match, or do you think it will kind of just be like this segment on the KO show finished with a stunner? Or
I'm leaning like a mix, like an encounter, if you see what I mean. Like it starts off promo-ish or like segment, like and then it breaks off, but it's not like a match. But I think Austin and Owens may do a little bit more than we expect just because it's WrestleMania. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is just a promo on the stunner. I really just don't think it's a way that we lose here. Because like I said, you can trust like what you're gonna get with Austin, whether it's the promo or whether it is the stunner, or if it's just a brawl all around WrestleMania. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about just go around the entire Texas Stadium just fighting. And maybe Kevin try to do a big spot or end up, getting the middle finger and kicked off something. That could even happen. I may be putting up too big of expectations, but I'm just saying, I'm expecting an encounter that gets physical.
Do you remember, there's an In Your House Canadian Stampede back in 97, and it was the Triple H Mankind match that started first. But because they brawled all around the arena and outside, they finished in the co-main event spot. Now, I'd love KO. You know what I mean? Austin and Owens podium finishing up in the ring in the main event slot.
100%. Yeah, that'll be perfect. But yeah, it's gonna get physical.
Yeah.
I just think it has to. Kevin has took it there. Austin is not really don't have to talk much with people who disrespect him. So it could just be a straight up brawl with no promo. But I'm assuming they're gonna talk too. So we'll see.
Was going to be interesting to see, and we talked about Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And as for Seth, Raw the main event, and Rollins was given another chance to earn a spot at Mania, but it was against AJ Styles this time. Edge came out with a steel chair to cause disqualification, securing Styles' spot. I mean, the finish is like a lot of fans will complain about, but 99% of this match was awesome between AJ and Rollins. And it made sense. You can't have Rollins losing twice in a row and then get to WrestleMania anyway.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and you don't want Styles to lose, or you don't want, there's no point in even putting him in that situation. And then it made sense for Edge to make the choice. Like, no, Seth, I'm done with you. I want AJ because Edge is on this power trip. We'll get to, so it makes sense.
Well, and then Rollins as well did his best. I mean, it did reminiscent of Bret Hart shouting bullshit and ruining, the announce table and everything like that.
He sold it.
It's a great callback. Yeah. It was, like I said, a really, really good match. But then the following week on Raw, it was just fixed because Seth Rollins went to Vince McMahon's office. And Vince is saying to him, why are you getting invested in WWE storylines when you could have just come to me?
You just asked me. Yeah, he did. I don't know. That's the one thing I'll say. If you want to take it seriously, I just laughed at it because it was satirical almost. But like as a lot of Vince's backstage segment has been just almost ridiculous with how he acts, or like how his interaction with the town almost ridiculous. But again, why didn't you just ask me? So he makes himself look like a lunatic.
It really did.
You could have just talked to me.
just said something. So Seth Rollins will be at WrestleMania. So Monty, the big question is, how pissed off will people be when it is not Cody Rhodes?
They're gonna be so pissed. They're going to be so pissed. And I 100% agree with you. It's going to be a lot of people killing the match. I don't even know where they got, like I mentioned on my podcast, On the Mind of Muncie, you have to be careful where you place this match. Because depending on who it is and how you execute it, this could turn the whole show upside down, and you gotta hope that Austin and Owen save you, if you know what I mean, or whatever is after it saves you. But they have to. I don't know. I'm with you. People are gonna be devastated when it's not him, and maybe it may not be as bad. I may be overstating that because it could be a lot of people who are cynical about WWE, like I am, and just like, no, it's not gonna be him anyway. Like I never had that much faith in it anyway. But the way people are chanting Cody at these shows, leading up to this, during these Seth segments, it just had me saying it has to be Cody, right? Like they don't I just don't know who else who could get a pop where no one would be mad.
I tell you something.
Like I just don't know. Seth, like maybe the Fiend. Like I don't like who could come back, or who could Cena or something. Like
Seth on Twitter
come back?
Been posting pictures of everybody.
Yeah,
I think Jungle
Everyone.
Boy. No, not Jungle Boy, sorry.
Marco Stunt
had the most likes, I think it was over 20,000, but the amount of people. But again, if Bray or The Fiend was to come out, I would lose my shit. Yeah,
it'd be great, right?
The amount of Bray merchant, it's outweighed probably by The Undertaker, but that is a dude who, and he's got an unfinished business with Seth, and would just pop up a year after what happened at last year's Mania and just carry on. But the question is,
but I just don't know.
The question is, who are you going to go for, and who's going to win that match?
I wrote, I'm gonna keep it this way, and I just can't. I gotta go with my first gut. I just said it has to be Cody, so I'm just going with Cody. If it's not Cody, I have no problem with being wrong. It is what it is. It just feels. I don't know. It doesn't. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. I'm literally been believe it till I see it about Cody from the beginning. It's just, I just don't understand. It's just hard to do this. Like, even The Fiend, yes, people will be. Oh, I think that's the only way you can go. And even that, I'm like, is it a stretch? Is this something they could actually execute? I would mark out. I would love it if The Fiend came back, got some revenge, even if it's a squash. Hopefully, a little competitive, but it don't have to be. Either way it go, I would not mind that. I understand it, and then they probably would immediately help you guys with the Alexa problem that you have. Not knowing what to do with her right now. So it could help. It could work.
Thank fuck.
Thank God you're back, right? so I can come on. Oh my God, but I don't know. I can't put faith in it. Everything is believe it until I see it. But either way it go, TBA, whoever it is, the Fiend. I think even if it's Goldberg, they're winning. I think TBA is winning. Please don't let it be Goldberg. That's gonna be horrible.
They should just
that might make people walk out.
I tell you what they should do. They should have either like Noam Dar or Sam Gradwell. So we pop, but they have no reaction. Hardly any reaction.
Yeah, the crowd would be like, "What the hell?"
I would love it.
Now, if they let them wrestle, they'll be impressed. Yeah. But I still think the crowd would be mad. Them WrestleMania tickets is high though, so I'll take it back. No one will leave, but they will definitely shit on the show.
They would. Right, so you and I have both gone Cody. We have both. It's the only two out of the five. We have both gone for Cody Rhodes coming back and winning. Hopefully,
their picks. Oh my God, are you going to read their picks?
Yes, I am. Smoke and mirrors.
Okay, go ahead.
Smoke and mirrors to come out to as well. Okay, so
yes,
Jaxie and
please,
Gina.
Smoke and mirror.
So Jaxie has put. She has. I'm not going to laugh. She's put Shane McMahon, night one, but think Seth is going to get another opponent for night two. Right, fair enough. And Gina agrees. She reckons Cody showing up in night two and having a match with Shane on night one. So they've both gone Shane. I'm sorry, if Cody shows up night one, Gina, you don't get the point. Because you said night two. I'm sorry.
Night two, yeah.
It's very, very
you were
important.
Specific.
The best one,
that's true.
Select Match Pod, we've always enjoyed you having on here. He's gone for Veer. Which you gotta love.
Yeah, gotta love it. He can't show up the Raw, but he can show up the WrestleMania.
Yeah. He's gonna show up a couple of days early than he's been advertised. And then the true main match of WrestleMania, and I know we don't talk about it, but it is Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. We go all the way back to March 4th, SmackDown, with Ronda Rousey's first SmackDown match, killing Sonya Deville. Flair entered the ring afterwards, and the Queen tapped out. As Michael Cole reminded the audience, the women's champion had previously called a WrestleMania opponent a one-trick pony. Rousey was fine in this one. SmackDown March 11th, Rousey cut a promo insisting she's more than a one-move wonder, starting the ankle lock by her mentor Kurt Angle, called back to WrestleMania 34. Flair interrupted and brushed off Rousey when saying Rousey said to Flair she would either tap or she'll take the Queen's arm home with her. The show went off the air with Ronda and Charlotte brawling backstage. And we see the Queen's penchant for vehicular assault still prevalent after all these years. The introduction of a new submission by Flair up the ante as well. SmackDown March 18th, and Charlotte Flair returned to the Queen City, greeted with a hero's welcome. And we see Rousey coming to the ring where a fight ensued. But of course, Charlotte using the kendo stick and putting her through the announce table with a powerbomb to end as well. I mean, Charlotte has got so much confidence. She smacked Ronda square in the mouth. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, a former bronze judo winner. And Charlotte has got no problems trying to hit her as hard as she can. Like, she must think she's untouchable. Not in that way.
Yes.
Not in a kind of Jaxie. Do you know what I'm trying to say by that?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's the character. Like, that's exactly where she is so full of herself or so confident in who she is that it doesn't matter who either if it's delusion or if it's, just she's that damn good to herself, whatever it is, she exactly views herself in the same light. Like, no, I'm not afraid of you. Like, I can do this too. So, I agree.
I have reported I've reported a couple other things Charlotte has done. She's been reported spitting in the wind and tugging on Superman's cape. So, unfortunately... But this is the thing, it's unbelievable. Then March 28th, Rousey hit the ring and cut a promo on Charlotte, who interrupted remotely, seemingly afraid to face C, and it was more of the same from champion and challenger. But that is basically it, and we've seen Charlotte, and a lot of people are saying Charlotte, even on the polls that we released last night, of Charlotte winning by submission. Now, out of every result, or every match here, even the whole weekend, there is no way, Monty, please tell me, that Charlotte is making Rousey tap. There is no way. There's not
No
even
way.
like a 1% chance, is there?
I'm not buying it.
No.
I'm not buying it. No way. I'm with you. No way, 100%. I don't even really know. I can't believe that she's. I'm with you. Though. I've seen it. A lot of people really think that Charlotte has this in the bag, and I just don't understand where that's coming from. And and especially in the last slot at WrestleMania, one-on-one, if that's where they end up at, I just don't see it. It's just not by submission anyway. And they must have information I don't have.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody on here, Jack C. Gina, Select Match Pod, and myself have all gone Ronda Rousey. Maybe the question is, how annoyed is Ronda that she won't be main event? Or, again, is it a thing that we look into too much? Or is there a chance that this could start the show if it's not going to main event?
Yeah, it's a chance. I'm not sure exactly. The thing is, like I said, putting them in the last match of the build, personally, the build itself did both women at times a disservice. They did their best. Like I said, the brawl, I guess, was like entertaining, and they've traded, insults, and they've really put Ronda in these promo situations, and she's still rough around the edges. They're not used, in my opinion, playing or like really being a character. So you can still just feel that when Ronda speaks, and that is what it is. So maybe that's another thing that they can have against her. But it's just you bring Ronda back, paying her what we know that they're paying her, and we have a Charlotte Flair here who has done everything there is to do. Does not need this victory whatsoever. Definitely don't need a submission victory over Ronda Rousey. She's already the greatest woman in WWE history. And we can go ahead and just book it at this point. No one is even close by accomplishments, even if you like her or not. So, I just don't understand what's the point of doing that. And at that moment, I think you just go ahead and go with the obvious. Now, the thing is, it is a different choice than what everyone probably would assume. As you said, we all pick Ronda Rousey because she won the Royal Rumble. It's Ronda Rousey. She's only lost to Becky, so I guess you could say Charlotte may want her name to join, be next to Becky as someone who's beaten Ronda Rousey. But I think I just don't see that working. I think you let Ronda take the title here. I mentioned earlier about Bianca winning with Becky. I think you can kind of have a story later on down the line, however you get Becky to SmackDown or however you want to do it later, shake-ups or whatever. And you can have a storyline later on with Becky and Ronda, even if it's not about the championship or whatever. They always can go back to that. I just don't. I think you have more options. But I beg the question. I made this point about SmackDown. Like we said, we talk about the mid-card. What about the women's division? Who else is who legitimate threats right now to Ronda Rousey? I mean, we're gonna pull Sasha and Naomi out of the tag division, I guess. Anyone else? Do we take anyone else seriously? And even in that case, with Sasha and Naomi, I love them. We don't take them seriously enough to say they're gonna beat Ronda at this point. Either one of them. Maybe it's Sasha you can make the case
thing
for,
is,
but so who else?
I got to jump in. You're making too many good points, all right? And I'm not going to be able to remember the stuff. Again, if Charlotte was to beat Ronda in any way at Mania, then I would believe Charlotte's got some power and sway in the backstage area.
Yes, that argument, exactly.
Yeah,
I agree.
That would be.
He has stroke if that happens.
The whole Becky Lynch redemption of being big time Bex and losing everything and realizing it was the fans that got place, becoming the man again and winning the Rumble to face Ronda at WrestleMania, who would be heel at that point, is just made for it as well. And you ask about challenges.
Exactly.
As long as you get Oscar versus Rousey at some point, that's all I give a fuck about. Oscar
I can take
Rousey.
that. Yeah.
That would be again.
Or bring Bayley back.
Bailey again with Well, I think Bailey might, if she was to come back, her and Belair
probably go to Raw
to pick up that feud right where they left off as well. Makes sense.
That's
but
true.
Again, Bailey superstar shake-up or facing Ronda at SummerSlam or something like that. It's there. Like we said, we kind of know how they're going to do it. But again, we've been talking about this and we're watching it and everything like this. But look at TakeOver. There's always surprises. There's always heels that are going to win that we're not expecting. You know, I'm not saying it's going to be Charlotte winning or Owens getting a stunner, but there will be something here tonight that will happen. You know, and that's what makes wrestling. People say, "Oh, you can bet," but look how unpredictable it is. Like this is the thing.
That's what makes wrestling great, man. When it's unpredictable, we don't know what's coming next. You know, that's the problem. Like when you just can predict wrestling, like WWE's been at its worst when you just know what's coming. Like that added factor is what makes you come back. And to also give a devil advocate point about, like I said about challengers too, we do have NXT. We just saw EO get pinned. We don't know if she will still be 2.0. Down the line as this year goes on. We don't know how long. She could be down there. Like we know a lot of stuff can change. Like you said, when it comes to the makeup of a roster, so it may look like it's nobody here right now, but that can change. So yeah.
But this is the thing, and the whole point of us doing this for like 2.5 hours that we've done it is just try and build excitement. You know, like I said, maybe it hasn't been the build up to WrestleMania, but irrespective, it's still a WrestleMania. You know, there's only been 38 WrestleManias, or 37 at this point, and we're going to get 2 nights of action. Hopefully, the wrestlers going to try their best. You know, we talk about who's involved. Charlotte, big match situation. Lynch and Belair trying to prove themselves. Even someone like Corbin and McIntyre. You know, hopefully they use those matches as quick ones, and the matches that we want a little bit of time to stick there. I want Usos and Boogs and Nakamura to get as much time as the Mysterios match, even though it won't. But do you know what I mean? I don't want anything rushed. They have a chance now to kind of show what they can do in a massive stadium. And like I said, we've got a few, talk about WrestleMania moments or matches, we can have it all here tonight. And like I said, with what happened at NXT, not TakeOver, God knows what can happen. We could be sitting here tomorrow on a live show, and that's when we're going to be back. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. it will be Monty and I, alongside Jackson and Gina, will have a quick talk about night 1, and then get into night 2, because tomorrow as well, we are going to have lots of news, and we're going to talk about the New Japan Cup, because I have been following Zack Sabre Jr.'s journey through it as well, so that should be quite interesting, and of course a lot else. Is there anything else, Monty, about NXT Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania Night 1, or anything else that you need to get off your chest before we are back for night 2?
No, nothing really off the top of my head other than like NXT set a tone of surprises and like I said, an overall fun show. I just hope WrestleMania Night 1 continues that and give us at least something we can all be proud of. Say, that was a fun show. Even if the decisions go our way or don't go our way. So that's the only thing I hope. So because even though I didn't do the best in NXT, predicting it, I had fun watching it, and I'll take that.
Without a doubt, like I said, we've already done 3.5 hours of action, and the kickoff has just started for WrestleMania right now. So once we finish here, go and start watching that. The action starts properly at 1 a.m, so it should give me an hour or so to sort myself out before we stay up. But
I really feel for you guys, man.
Feel for me tomorrow.
1 a.m.
Tomorrow on the pod, I'm like, hello and welcome.
Exactly. Like, we got to do this again. Like, oh my God. I feel for you guys. This is me in the New Japan Cup, though. Think about it's like I'm up at 3 a.m, 4 a.m.
Well, like I said, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot else. But everybody, like I said, that is it. Don't forget, across all social media, follow the WNR Podcast on Twitter, the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR. You can find Monty. Well, you just look on the WNR Podcast banner. Or, Monty, where can people find you?
At Mind Monty Pod on Twitter. I'm primarily there. Like you mentioned, the New Japan Cup had an extensive breakdown of the finals, semifinals, and the finals, actually. And I've been covering the whole entire tournament. You can look at my last 3-4 episodes and get my takes on a lot of the best matches throughout the entire tournament. So, come check us out. We have fun. We do a little bit of different stuff at Mind Monty Pod, the Mind and Monty Podcast on all podcasting platforms. Thank you. Click the link in my bio.
Well, I will say to people, and they've asked as well, they do enjoy you on the show, but how can they listen to Monty without me? There is your chance. Like I say,
there you go.
I bring you down like I bring everybody else down, I suppose. I don't get email. That does hurt me, guys. When I get emails and stuff like that. Don't worry. It's fine. But WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us your hurtful emails at the WNRpodcast@gmail.com. And YouTube done podcasts with latest clips of podcasts at the same time as YouTube, and they do SoundCloud. Emails are more passive aggressive as well. They're not like on Twitter, they're just behind your back. And also Spotify and iTunes, we can download, subscribe, rate and review there. But that's it. And we're just starting the action. We've got night 1 tonight and tomorrow at 8 p.m. live. We've got Jaxie, Gina, and of course Monty. We've talked about New Japan Cup. We've got the Hall of Fame to look at tomorrow as well. Of course, The Undertaker being inducted, and so much more. But until then, I have been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the brilliant, the fantastic, the awesome, the one and only, the true heel of the WNR podcast, Monty. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did. I always do. And I have to work on my heel material tomorrow because we got the whole team back. So let's see who I can piss off next show.
We'll find out what happens. But until then, thanks for listening, everybody, and enjoy WrestleMania. Bye.
Adios.